However, before Wei Xiaobei could shamelessly imagine things between him and Qing Ci, Cheng Baiwu's poured cold water over his head. Your foundation is not too bad. Did you have any plans of asking me to be your master and learn Bajiquan? This was the first time Cheng Baiwu tried to receive a disciple this way. He had no choice but to do this, as Wei Xiaobei's age really did not suit learning martial arts anymore. However, he had a decent foundation. The most important thing was that the first time Cheng Baiwu met Wei Xiaobei, he felt that Wei Xiaobei was an unpolished gem. When Cheng Baiwu rubbed the medicine on his bruise before, he had touched all over Wei Xiaobei's body, and he became even more convinced. In this age, where economy was now flourishing, martial arts have already started declining. There was a saying on the internet, even the best martial arts fall to a single bullet. No matter how great a martial arts master was, they would probably die in the face of a bullet fired from modern firearms. There were already too many examples of this, so there was no need to mention them. If it was the army, there would be more martial experts. Combining their martial arts and firearm skills, their power to injure or kill the enemy would be higher than a person with just pure martial arts. Among the citizens, martial arts practitioners were nothing compared to those with skills that could earn lots of money. A martial arts practitioner would train for more than 10 years. So what if they could beat 10 people alone? Bodyguards? That job didn't have much fame. They wouldn't be able to earn much in a month, and in times of danger, they would have to risk their lives to protect their client. Underground fighting and other activities of the same kind did not even need to be mentioned. Every law-abiding parent would not be willing to let their children do those kinds of things. For those whose martial arts did not reach an expert degree, they wouldn't even dare to open their own dojo. Those who did were only asking to be beaten. Moreover, opening a dojo needed a big investment, and even then, the profits were not that big. Finally, modern men did not like the idea of enduring hardships. The energy used for learning martial arts would be better used if it was for studying, going to a good college, picking a good job, joining a foreign company, becoming a CEO, marrying a good spouse, and ascending to the peak of life. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? If it was just training the body, learning Taekwondo was enough. If it was for real fights, learning mixed martial arts for a few months would already show great results. In short, the influence of traditional martial arts was declining day by day. The best it could do was casually brag at how great it was through movies and television shows. From Cheng Baiwu's point of view, he was not yet satisfied at having 3 disciples. He believed that neither of them would be able to succeed his legacy. Wei Xiaobei left him a better impression to the point that he was the most satisfied with him. The only question was if he was willing to join him or not. Wei Xiaobei was initially startled by Cheng Baiwu's words. He was originally already thinking of entering into discipleship. Who knew that Cheng Baiwu would actually give him a nice surprise? When Cheng Baiwu thought that Wei Xiaobei was not willing, Wei Xiaobei turned around and kneeled in front of him. This disciple is willing. Excellent. Cheng Baiwu immediately became elated. Soon he asked Qing Ci to call the other disciples in. They stood on the side and conducted a simple discipleship ceremony. Cheng Baiwu sat upright on an armchair. Qing Ci handed over a cup of green tea to Wei Xiaobei. Wei Xiaobei roughly understood what he needed to do and handed the green tea to Cheng Baiwu. He said, "Master, please help yourself to tea." Cheng Baiwu received the tea cup and took a sip. He smiled and said, "Xiaobei, although the discipleship ceremony is a bit simple because it was hurried, you are now my disciple from today onwards. There are only 2 rules that you must follow and remember. 1. Do not deceive the master and forsake the ancestor. You must respect your teacher and be united with your fellow disciples. 2. Do not break the law, violate the discipline, or bully the weak." Seeing that Cheng Baiwu's voice and face became serious, Wei Xiaobei immediately replied, "Your disciple will remember master's instructions. Stand up." Cheng Baiwu smiled after saying the rules and hearing Wei Xiaobei's response. Then he took out a hong bao from his chest pocket. Hong bao is the red envelope/packet that Chinese give to each other for various occasions. I prefer not to translate hong bao because I feel like it. Wei Xiaobei received the hong bao with a stunned expression. His apprentice brothers all laughed and they saw his stupefied expression. Among them, Cheng Cixi had the greatest smile. This reason was simple: the seniority of Cheng Baiwu's school or martial arts was arranged from first to last. However, she was the last, but now, she was not only a junior apprentice anymore. Junior apprentice brother Xiaobei, is there anything wrong? You can tell this senior apprentice sister about it. Cheng Cixi asked with a smile on her face, of course, without neglecting her identity as a senior apprentice sister. Ah! Wasn't it normally the apprentice that gives the master a hong bao? Why is mine different? Wei Xiaobei blushed a bit when he said this. If he was truly to give the master a hong bao, his embarrassment would be big. His wallet only contained a few bills. No need. Your master does not lack money. CC, go prepare lunch. Everyone should drink to their heart's content. Cheng Baiwu became incredibly happy after accepting a fine apprentice. Actually, the money earned from the dojo was not much, but he did not care about losing such a small amount. Those who were capable of wholeheartedly pursuing martial arts did not lack money. There was a saying that the poor should study, while the rich can devote themselves to martial arts. The appetites of those who learn martial arts were quite big. They needed to eat well to be able to recover their body. Those who did not have money wouldn't have great results no matter how much they trained. After Wei Xiaobei entered into apprenticeship, they all began speaking with each other. Yao Wu was already mentioned as one of Cheng Baiwu's disciple before. Another one was the second apprentice brother, Zhang Zhilong. He was the one previously instructing the group of youths that were training. His skin looked very fair and clear. On the other hand, the one who was continuously ramming against the tree was their big senior apprentice brother, Lu Jiancheng. His skin was very tanned and was almost at the age of 30. He still did not have a girlfriend and was often nicknamed the martial arts fool. These three fellow apprentices helped the master in the dojo. They also lived there and ate meals together, but they did not have any wages. According to Cheng Cixi, the three fellow apprentices did not come from poor households, but they loved to learn martial arts. They would even give a decent sum of offering to their master every year. They were even the ones who took initiative in asking for discipleship. Wei Xiaobei did not think too much. He drank with his master, senior apprentice brothers and sister for a few rounds. Through this, their relationship had deepened by a lot. In the afternoon, Cheng Baiwu did not teach Wei Xiaobei anything. He had instructed Wei Xiaobei to join the group of youths that were being instructed by his second apprentice brother to train his foundation. At 5 o'clock, Wei Xiaobei said goodbye and went to work. Although he had drunk quite a bit, Wei Xiaobei's mind after working his shift was filled with excitement. Let alone entering apprenticeship, being able to eat a lot for lunch made him incredibly happy, even if Cheng Cixi kept looking at him strangely the entire time. When Wei Xiaobei heard that his master was treating him while in the car, he activated his special skill and began releasing electricity. As a result, when lunchtime came, he was already extremely hungry. He was like a tiger as he crazily wolfed down bowls and bowls of rice to the point that Cheng Baiwu and the others almost had no more rice to eat. However, his efforts were not wasted. The voltage that he was able to release increased to 9 volts and the electric current increased to 2.5 milliamperes. After getting off work at 12 midnight, Wei Xiaobei returned to his apartment. He did not do anything else and just went to bed, falling into a deep sleep. He only woke up at 7 in the morning as he hurriedly went to work. After getting off work at 6 in the late afternoon, he hurried to the dojo. Second apprentice brother Zhang Zhilong brought him to the side and educated him. Xiaobei, your working conditions are pretty bad. You don't even have time to train anymore. Wei Xiaobei himself knew about the bad effects of the three-shift system on his training, but he had no other way to go about it. If he did not work, then he would have to let himself starve to death. Looking at Xiaobei's downcast appearance, Zhang Zhilong understood what he was thinking. He smiled, "How about this? This apprentice brother of yours found you a night job. The only question now is if you want it or not." Zhang Zhilong was actually thinking that Wei Xiaobei should just directly help the dojo, but he did not know how to tell him. There were no wages in helping the dojo, only food and drinks were provided. Zhang Zhilong simply did not care about a trivial thing like money. He was even willing to give Wei Xiaobei wages. However, he also took into consideration his junior apprentice brothers. Self-esteem. After all, who was willing to accept other people's pity? This was Zhang Zhilong's point of view. However, if he let Wei Xiaobei know his thoughts, Xiaobei would probably just kneel down and say, "Second apprentice brother. Don't worry about this junior apprentice brother's self-esteem. Paying me wages or eating meals in the dojo is all fine with me." Naturally, Wei Xiaobei did not know of Zhang Zhilong's thoughts, thus, he was extremely grateful of his help. However, Zhang Zhilong overestimated himself. His family did not live in Chuihu City, as a result, it was harder for him to find an easy yet high-paying job for Wei Xiaobei. After eating dinner, Wei Xiaobei was called by Cheng Baiwu to the inner practice ground. He began to teach Wei Xiaobei a bit about Bajiquan's principles, history, tradition and other knowledge that was needed. The origin of the name Bajiquan came from the ancient meaning of Baji. Ba is the number 8, and Ji means the peak, the far end. Baji means the extremity of all 8 directions under heaven, or in short 8 extremities. The classic, Huainan Zi, Chapter 4, Terrestrial Forms, has this remark: "Between heaven and earth are 9 continents and 8 poles, and, going beyond the 9 provinces there are 8 alignments, beyond them are the 8 connections, and beyond them are the 8 poles." This explains the basic principle of Bajiquan. Cheng Baiwu explained the principle clearly as if he was a private tutor, slowly explaining things to Wei Xiaobei. Wei Xiaobei committed his teachings into his memory as he kept nodding. To master Bajiquan, you need to learn the 8 core ideas, the 8 stances, and the 8 aspects. The 8 core ideas are namely, alertness, calmness, maliciousness, boldness, determination, fierceness, agility, swiftness. In modern times, these would be called the 8 mentalities of fighting. Mastering these core ideas to the extreme would allow you to blow away all your enemies. After Cheng Baiwu spoke, Wei Xiaobei only looked at him blankly. He was impressed that his master was able to keep up with the modern times. Now, let us talk about the 8 forms. These 8 forms are namely, dragon, tiger, bear, monkey, swallow, dog, eagle, quail. You need to understand each animal's intent and use them as the basis for the 8 forms. Dragons, they can soar through the skies, call the winds and rain, disturb the seas, hide their tracks, appear and disappear unpredictably. Cheng Baiwu explained this to him for more than half an hour, to the point where Wei Xiaobei's brain had already short-circuited. To be honest, Wei Xiaobei was never good at the theoretical stuff. However, he had to remember his master's words. During this time, Wei Xiaobei had almost gone crazy. Luckily, Cheng Baiwu did not explain any more theories after that. Instead, he tasked Zhang Zhilong to explain to Wei Xiaobei about the basic skills of Bajiquan. Wei Xiaobei let out a light sigh after leaving the practice hall. Zhang Zhilong laughed at his appearance. "Junior apprentice brother, that type of force-feeding method of teaching is unpleasant, right?" Wei Xiaobei nodded his head. "If master was about to talk for a few minutes more, would have killed myself. Ha ha ha, I was also the same. It was much worse during my time. Master had talked for an hour straight." Zhang Zhilong's face showed that he still had lingering fears. Wei Xiaobei couldn't help but let out a cold sweat after hearing Zhang Zhilong's words. An hour long. Dying would be better. However, Zhang Zhilong's following explanation was not that different from the master's. You first need to understand the strength behind Bajiquan. There are three essential factors behind Bajiquan, namely footwork, breathing and exerting force. This is the basic difference of Bajiquan from other martial arts. Without these three essential factors, then it would not be Bajiquan anymore. Thus, these essential factors are the foundation of every technique. Anyone who learns Bajiquan must grasp these factors. They will allow you to elevate and strengthen your skills. Zhang Zhilong was used to teaching youths, and as a result he began speaking continuously. Luckily, after letting out this wordy explanation, Zhang Zhilong began to progressively explain how to train in footwork, breathing, and exerting force. For each training method, he would let Wei Xiaobei follow him, to make him remember. At this point, the explanations had slowed down until 12 midnight. Wei Xiaobei had not yet even learned a third of it. And after learning them, he would have forgotten the others by then. Sigh, this is probably due to my 6 points in learning. It was already midnight, but Zhang Zhilong did not let Wei Xiaobei return. After Zhang Zhilong washed his face, he prepared a steel bed for Wei Xiaobei and let him stay in the same room as him. Zhang Zhilong was a sound sleeper. By just lying down on the bed, he was able to sleep in an instant. Wei Xiaobei was the opposite. He was slightly picky with his bed. Adding the hot weather to the equation, it kept him up until the a.m. He also did not dare move too much, afraid that he would wake up his second apprentice brother. After a while, Wei Xiaobei decided to use this time to review everything he learned. Wei Xiaobei felt helpless at his inability to learn the more he tried to recall. After a while, he couldn't help but let out a sigh, knowing that the amount he forgot was greater than the amount he remembered. It seems that I have to bother second apprentice brother tomorrow. After recalling the ones that he remembered, Wei Xiaobei concentrated on the status panel. A few changes had occurred to his status panel. He saw that there was a new skill, Bajiquan, beginner. Wei Xiaobei was shaken when he saw this. He couldn't help but concentrate on this new skill. After concentrating, the spare evolution points in the status panel quickly decreased, and the status for Bajiquan changed. When all 50 evolution points were used, Bajiquan had changed from a beginner level to intermediate. Name, Wei Xiaobei. Race, human. Gender, male. Age, 21. Creature rank, 1 star. Status, the average adult male status value is 10. Strength, 11.5, muscle, 13, sturdiness, 10. Agility, 9.75, hand-eye coordination, 9, flexibility, 11, reflex, 11, balance, 8. Vitality, 10, health, 9, endurance, 11. Intelligence, 7, learning, 6, reasoning, 8. Awareness, 9.25, willpower, 12, judgment, 8, perception, 7, intuition, 10. Charm, 7.2, courage, 10, persuasiveness, 7, character, 7, leadership, 5, appearance, 7. Skills, shooting, intermediate, military boxing, intermediate, electrical work, beginner, Bajiquan, intermediate. Special skill, release electricity, maximum strength 9 volts. Maximum current 2.5 mA. This skill formed after Wei Xiaobei ate the thunderworm electric ball. Maintaining a constant output for a long period could allow this skill to level up. Using this while exercising would stimulate strength and slowly increase agility. Evolution points, 20. Items on hand, none. Wei Xiaobei knew that 20 evolution points would not cause any more changes to his Bajiquan skill. But this was still enough to make him happy. Following the upgrade from beginner to intermediate, the things Wei Xiaobei learned from before begun to pop up in his mind. His memory became incredibly clear. The footwork, breathing, and inner force usage that he learned felt a bit more familiar, as if he had practiced them for hours and hours. These changes gave him the urge to get up and go outside to train. However, after looking at how his second apprentice brother was having such a pleasant sleep, he was afraid of the consequences of waking him up. Wei Xiaobei could only suppress his impulse and imagine himself practicing for a long time until he fell asleep. At 6 in the morning, Wei Xiaobei was woken up by Zhang Zhilong. After washing their faces, they arrived at the practice field. There were already a few people in the outer practice ground. His master, Cheng Baiwu, and big senior brother, Lu Jiancheng, had chosen their own individual tree to lean on. It was easy to see the difference in their skills based on the movement of the tree. Every time Cheng Baiwu leaned on the tree and its leaves would suddenly stop moving, and then it would violently shake. His big apprentice brother, on the other hand, could only shake the leaves down from the tree with every lean. It was very clear that Lu Jiancheng would need a lot more training before he could catch up to their master. On the other hand, his third apprentice brother, Yao Wu, was currently practicing with the wooden pillars. His hands were like artillery shells, smashing the wooden pillar over and over. Wei Xiaobei's eyelids almost jumped at the scene. On the other side, his senior apprentice sister, Cheng Cixi, was currently holding a great spear, jumping and turning around. The great spear moved like a dragon, sometimes high up, sometimes low. It was so majestic that it could shock anyone watching. Based on the force of the spear alone, it was hard to tell that this was executed by an 18-year-old girl. Stop looking already. Let us continue last night's lesson. Xiao Bei, show me the ones I taught you first. I will correct your mistakes. Zhang Zhilong waved his hand in front of Wei Xiaobei a few times to bring him back to his senses. But afterwards, Wei Xiaobei's performance had left him dumbstruck. He even thought that he was still asleep, and that this was all a dream. Bang! Wei Xiaobei was currently doing the many different forms of stamping footwork such as the point stamp, forward stamp, backward stamp, etc. A loud bang echoed every time he stomped on the limestone floor. These basic footwork forms looked easy at first glance, but learning them to a skilled degree was something that could not be done in just 2 days. When he was a soldier, he had learned Qin Di Quan's faint step, but training it to a skilled degree took him hours. In reality, Qin Di Quan's faint step was developed from Bajiquan's forward step. However, in front of Zhang Zhilong's eyes, Wei Xiaobei was already capable of doing these stamps to a skilled degree. This kind of degree had previously taken him an entire month to reach. This was the reason why Zhang Zhilong felt as if he was still asleep. After a while, Wei Xiaobei's movements began to attract Chang Baiwu and the others' attention. After Wei Xiaobei demonstrated all the basic training forms, Cheng Baiwu walked over and looked at Wei Xiaobei, pleasantly surprised. This result was something Cheng Baiwu would have never imagined. Wei Xiaobei had already reached this level in the foundation after only a single night. After seeing him, Cheng Baiwu started to question whether there were really geniuses in this world. Cheng Baiwu never suspected whether Wei Xiaobei had had any past experience in martial arts. After all, he was looking at Wei Xiaobei from afar, while he was practicing with Zhang Zhilong last night. Wei Xiaobei definitely had never learned any related martial arts. The strangeness in his footwork and other movements last night were impossible to fake. Cheng Baiwu had confidence in this. Master, junior brother apprentice, he. Zhang Zhilong could not speak any words clearly and only pointed at Wei Xiaobei. It's all right. Just continue teaching at this pace. When he knows how to do one thing, teach him another. Curiosity grew from Cheng Baiwu's mind. He wanted to see how far Wei Xiaobei could go, to see if he was a real genius or if it was only a stroke of luck. Following their master's words, Zhang Zhilong continuously taught Wei Xiaobei aside from breaks during breakfast, lunch and dinner. Yao Wu had temporarily substituted Zhang Zhilong in teaching the normal students. Naturally, whether it was breakfast or dinner, Wei Xiaobei had once again let everyone witness his huge appetite. Cheng Cc, who prepared the meal, muttered, "Are you going to eat us out of house and home?" The quantity of rice was a problem. The truth was, any martial artist would eat a lot of rice compared to normal people. The words, "a person cannot fight on an empty stomach," was not untrue. As a result, Cheng C's utter had merited her a chop from Chang Baiwu. From Cheng Baiwu's point of view, the more Wei Xiaobei ate, the better. Food expenses were nothing to him. Actually, there were many times when the dojo did not only rely on the tuition fees. On that day, Wei Xiaobei had been terribly force-fed. Materials that would have normally taken others half a year to learn, were taught to him twice by Zhang Zhilong in just one day. Based on Wei Xiaobei's rate of improvement, one more week would be enough to teach him tens of foundational footwork, breathing and force exertion skills. He might even be able to learn various static stances and basic fighting moves by the end of it. Zhang Zhilong's fast-paced teaching had even piqued the interest of his big apprentice brother, who was currently leaning against a tree. After all, none of the three disciples had taken less than a year to learn all the basics. At nighttime 11 o'clock, Wei Xiaobei said goodbye to his master and fellow disciples to go to work. Yao Wu took the initiative to send him there, which made Wei Xiaobei look at him in a new light. This third apprentice brother of his normally did not talk much, but he was actually very caring. Wei Xiaobei was now loving Bajiquan. When Bajiquan upgraded to intermediate, Wei Xiaobei was able to reach a higher level of understanding towards Bajiquan. Zhang Zhilong's force feeding was able to supplement Wei Xiaobei's incomplete knowledge about Bajiquan. After changing shifts with his colleague, Wei Xiaobei circled the entire electric room and copied the data before sitting down in front of the office table. The electric room was not a suitable place to train the basics of Bajiquan. The floor was made from thick steel plates. Just the sound from practicing his footwork would be enough to draw in the attention of the people outside. It seems that I need a job change now. Wei Xiaobei sighed and turned his attention elsewhere. Should I go back into the dust world to earn more evolution points? Wei Xiaobei carried fear and rejection the first time he was sent to the dust world. After taking the initiative to enter it once, the amount of rejection he had decreased. However, he still had a small amount of rejection in his subconscious mind. But now, any bit of rejection that Wei Xiaobei once had disappeared. He did not understand anything about Bajiquan, but after placing 50 evolution points to upgrade it, his mind had completely changed. If he was not part of the night shift, he would have already went to buy white wine. In his subconscious mind, the once terrifying dust world had already changed into a paradise. A paradise where he could harvest as many evolution points as he wanted. Gaining a large amount of evolution points would also allow him to have earth-shattering changes. Wei Xiaobei, for most of his lifetime, had only lived to get by every day, so the stimulation of the dust world was not a simple one. Everyone in the world had their own desire and wish to live a better life. Some of them might have bigger dreams than others. However, most of the people could only live a mediocre life due to various reasons and limitations. Thus, Wei Xiaobei's change was within reason. At 8:15 in the morning, Wei Xiaobei got off work and bought some deep-fried dough cake and 2 glasses of soy milk. He ate and drank while he walked up the bus. He prepared to return to the apartment for now. He had been staying in the dojo for a few days already. Although he had taken a bath, the clothes that he was wearing had not been washed, giving off a rancid smell. It was easy to imagine how thick the stench was, since it was August. Because of this, Wei Xiaobei squeezed himself to the back corner of the bus, trying to avoid having the stench spread to all directions and gaining other people's resentment. After reaching another station, a huge amount of passengers squeezed inside the bus. Wei Xiaobei had been recalling the things that he learned in order to etch it into his memory, when he suddenly smelled a sweet fragrance amongst the thick smell of sweat. He was familiar with this smell. When he raised his head, a beautiful girl, who was frowning, had squeezed herself through a group of men. In this scorching summer, the men's libido had seemingly increased. When the girl tried to pass through, these men did not step aside and even took a deep whiff at the girl. A few disgusting men even quietly stood straight, attempting to take advantage of the girl passing through. Although Wei Xiaobei might share some of the men's feelings, he disapproved of their actions. This girl was the one who lived across his room, thus his relationship with her was better than these men. Their actions made him feel as if the food in his bowl was going to be taken away by others. As a result, Wei Xiaobei stopped being polite. He walked forward 2 steps, pried the crowd open, and pulled the girl towards him. The girl, who was currently lowering her head, suddenly had her hand pulled. She was startled to the point that her entire body trembled, fearing that she had met an incredibly lustful molester in the bus. When she was about to scream, she noticed that it was Wei Xiaobei. Although she did not know his name, she had let down her guard against him due to her previous experience. She immediately let go of all her resistance, obediently letting Wei Xiaobei pull her into the corner. She followed along and got pulled into Wei Xiaobei's buff arms, blocking the other men outside. The girl immediately felt a sense of security as she looked at Wei Xiaobei with puppy eyes. Wei Xiaobei felt a bit awkward. Although he did a good thing, the way he did things was a bit over the top. Moreover, they didn't even know each other's names. You got off work early. Are you taking night shifts? Wei Xiaobei was silent for a while before mustering up his courage to ask. However, his words came off a bit lofty. Yes. Are you also taking night shifts? The girl was exceptionally intelligent and immediately returned the question. Yeah. After saying, yeah, Wei Xiaobei did not know how to continue the conversation anymore. Wei Xiaobei was a virgin who did not speak much with women. Talking with a girl for this long was already not bad. Naturally, Wei Xiaobei was currently intoxicated from the girl's fresh smell. So fragrant. Because the bus started and stopped occasionally, their bodies would touch each other from time to time. Summer was a blessing to some people, whether it be men or women, they would not wear a thick amount of clothes. Wei Xiaobei's urges had risen from the occasionally bumping into the girl's legs and arms. It was to the point that his lower half had grown bigger. So embarrassing. In order to prevent the girl from noticing the source of his embarrassment, he slightly bent his body. However, the girl noticed that something was wrong with Wei Xiaobei. Are you feeling ill? The girl asked with a concern that he did not understand. The fresh and clean smell rushed to Wei Xiaobei's face, causing his face to redden more. Ah. I'm okay. Just probably a bit tired from work. Wei Xiaobei felt like his entire body had just sunk into hell. If he could, he wanted to get down at the next stop, but he was reluctant to part with her. When it was almost time for him to get off, he sighed with relief. Wei Xiaobei quickly walked a few steps ahead in order to cover up his growing lower embarrassment. However, when Wei Xiaobei pushed open his door, the girl behind him asked with a small voice, "Thank you. My name is Zhang Tian Tian. What about you?" "Ah, my name is Wei Xiaobei." Wei Xiaobei slightly blanked out. This was the first time a girl asked him for his name. This made his heart race, as his gaze landed on Zhang Tian Tian's charming face. During that slightly wonderful atmosphere between them, a door on the left of the apartment suddenly opened. Li Lanxing, looking slightly dazed, walked out from the door while stretching her body. When she saw Wei Xiaobei and Zhang Tian Tian standing in the corridor, curiosity budded within her. "Tian Tian, what are you two doing standing there?" Li Lanxing's sudden intrusion immediately made Zhang Tian Tian's face redden. "No, nothing." Then she immediately turned around, entered the room and closed the door, cutting off Wei Xiaobei's gaze. Bang! Wei Xiaobei finally came back to his senses. He couldn't help but let out a bitter smile when he saw Li Lanxing. "Sister Lan, good morning." Li Lan Xing looked at Wei Xiaobei with a strange gaze. Tian is a good child, good luck Xiaobei. Sister Lan, what are you talking about? Forget it, I'm going to go take a bath. Wei Xiaobei wanted to explain something, but he couldn't say it, so he left it with these words while closing the door behind him as he entered the room. He could not bother with Li Lan Xing, who was trying to scope out their relationship. After taking a bath, Wei Xiaobei immediately changed his clothes and rushed to the dojo. This kind of lifestyle continued for a week. Wei Xiaobei had now more or less learned the foundation of Bajikwan. In the eyes of everyone else, Wei Xiaobei was a true martial arts genius. As a result, Cheng Baiwu could not get used to seeing Wei Xiaobei go to work with such a bad schedule. After all, for a martial artist, living a regular life was necessary. This afternoon, Wei Xiaobei trained in his Bajikwan stances. After that, he wiped his sweat with a towel and greeted his second senior apprentice brother. Cheng Baiwu suddenly called him after he finished taking a bath and was preparing to go work. Xiaobei, wait a moment. Master, what's the matter? Wei Xiaobei was slightly puzzled. In this period of time, his master had not talked with him that much. He even believed that his master already had a clear opinion of him, so he felt that it was strange he was called over. In the future, come help with the dojo, you should stop going to work and wasting time. If you need money, just tell your master. Wei Xiaobei did not expect this coming. The words that came out from his master's mouth had went against his expectations. Ah! Wei Xiaobei was so excited that he could not reply. He felt that not only did his master have a clear understanding of him, he even gave careful consideration to his situation. What? Do you think your master's money is free? Rest assured, I will record your loan. Cheng Baiwu thought that he had seen through Wei Xiaobei's stubborn pride, so he laughed. Okay, then I will submit my resignation letter tomorrow. No matter what was said, warmth entered Wei Xiaobei's heart as he felt his master's concern for him. Thus, he immediately answered. After leaving the dojo, Wei Xiaobei went towards the car parked outside the alley, where his third senior apprentice brother was waiting. After getting in the car, Wei Xiaobei's eyes glistened. Master and apprentice brothers treat me too well. Even senior apprentice sister, who usually felt apprehensive towards me, would still treat my training injuries. Xiaobei, what's wrong? Hi's third senior apprentice brother's vision was truly astonishing. It was already dark outside and the car lights were not that bright, but he was able to notice that something was different with Wei Xiaobei even when driving. Nothing. I was just a bit moved. Brother, you people treat me too well. Wei Xiaobei would never say such corny words according to his previous nature. But now, he was so moved that he said it out loud. Yao Wu was stunned by Wei Xiaobei's words. Luckily, there were no incoming cars or else an accident would have already happened. This is nothing, you are one of us after all. Yao Wu smiled and went back to concentrating on driving. Unfortunately, resignation was not as simple as handing over the resignation letter and leaving. After handing over the resignation letter, the Hao real estate company would need a certain amount of time to find a replacement for him. As a result, Wei Xiaobei would need to go to work for half a month more. Naturally, Wei Xiaobei could also just leave instantly. If he did this, the retirement insurance that the company submitted for him would be much more harder to receive. In reality, Wei Xiaobei did not regard the retirement insurance as something big, after all this was something that would only matter tens of years in the future. However, there was a saying, he who gives no thought to far-flung problems will soon find suffering nearby. Moreover, that was still the money that he had painstakingly earned. If he was going to the dojo in the future, he thought about decreasing his expenses. The first thing that came to mind was to cancel his rent for the apartment. However, he considered the situation if he entered the dust world from the dojo. He was not yet familiar with the situation of the place on the other side, and he might instantly encounter danger from there. As a result, he could only continue to pay the rent. He would rather keep the room even if it was empty. If he cancelled the room, it would be very troublesome to find another. I should go in the dust world and take a look, it's already been half a month after all. The Bajiquan in his status panel was still at intermediate rank. However, Wei Xiaobei's understanding towards Bajiquan had leveled up a grade. In a normal person's eyes, there was no difference in Wei Xiaobei's half-a-month training and their own 2-year-long training. Moreover, releasing electricity for a long period of time had created some changes in his status. Name, Wei Xiaobei. Race, human. Gender, male. Age, 21. Creature rank, 1 star. Status, the average adult male's status value is 10. Strength, 11.53, muscle, 13.03, sturdiness, 10.03. Agility, 9.78, hand-eye coordination, 9.03, flexibility, 11.03, reflex, 11.03, balance, 8.03. Vitality, 10, health, 9, endurance, 11. Intelligence, 7, learning, 6, reasoning, 8. Awareness, 9.25, willpower, 12, judgment, 8, perception, 7, intuition, 10. Charm, 7.2, courage, 10, persuasiveness, 7, character, 7, leadership, 5, appearance, 7. Skills, shooting, intermediate, military boxing, intermediate, electrical work, beginner, Bajiquan, intermediate. Special skill, release electricity, maximum strength 11 volts. Maximum current 4 mA. This skill formed after Wei Xiaobei ate the thunderworm electric ball. Maintaining a constant output for a long period could allow this skill to level up. Using this while exercising would stimulate strength and slowly increase agility. Evolution points, 20. Items on hand, none. It can be seen from the status panel that his strength and agility had increased by 0.03 each with just half a month of training. If he continued like this, his strength and agility would probably increase by 0.72 points. In 5 years, it would rise to 3.6 points. In addition, it would continue to increase as time went on. Even if he did not enter the dust world, Wei Xiaobei's strength would reach 15 points in 5 years and around 13.3 points for his agility. 15 points in strength was already close to the strength of a middleweight boxer. This kind of speed was already good enough for normal people, but Wei Xiaobei thought that this was still too slow. Because of this, Wei Xiaobei's thirst for evolution points increased. Other than these changes, the voltage and electric current of his special skill had increased a bit. Against a human body, 11 volts was already enough to cause a sharp pain, while 4 mA of electric current was enough to strongly numb their bodies. This had given Wei Xiaobei a new method of attacking in future battles. Today, Wei Xiaobei had the night shift. Second senior apprentice brother gave Wei Xiaobei the morning to rest. From Zhang Zhilong's point of view, working for an entire night required sufficient rest. Forcefully training would not do the body any good. However, Wei Xiaobei did not plan to rest at all during this time. After getting off work, Wei Xiaobei went to the Fat Mama store to buy a bottle of wine. After returning to his room and closing the door, Wei Xiaobei impatiently chugged down the wine. He soon lied down on the bed, letting the drowsiness overcome him. Wei Xiaobei rubbed his hazy eyes and got up from the bed. The room had already become tattered. He had once again arrived in the dust world. Wei Xiaobei was a bit unsatisfied that he needed to fall asleep drunk to be able to enter the dust world. The danger of entering the dust world like this was too high. If by chance he got drunk outside and entered the dust world from that point, he might be transported next to a fierce monster. It was just like the man who appeared in the neighboring courtyard. Just a moment's carelessness was enough to land in the mouth of a tiger. However, Wei Xiaobei was currently unable to find a solution to this problem. There was another thing that was strange: when that man died in the dust world, there was no news of him at all in the real world. Wei Xiaobei roughly understood that this guest was not a rich person, thus as long as that person did not die within the apartment room, the landlord would not have cared much about him. He shook his head and threw these thoughts to the back of his mind. He easily raised 2 clubs and walked towards the courtyard. The gate was currently shut tight, just in the same condition. He left it, so Wei Xiaobei was able to relax a bit. When he sighed a breath of relief, the sound of fishmen knocking on objects came from the streets outside. There are still fishmen here. This was something that Wei Xiaobei never imagined. In this period of time, he had not heard anything about people disappearing. From his understanding, those fishmen would have left the place because they could not find any food, humans. However, this was clearly only Wei Xiaobei's point of view. Wei Xiaobei once again climbed up the wall to look further in the distance. He saw there was a fishman using a club to knock on random objects on the street. The fishman was currently walking towards the other end of the street, quickly vanishing from Wei Xiaobei's line of sight. Seeing that there was no soul in sight, Wei Xiaobei hesitated a bit. He soon opened the gate and headed towards the Fat Mama store, placing the remaining hardtacks and bottled water in his backpack. He then went towards the direction where the fishman disappeared. The fishman was not fast. It was even slower than a walking human, so chasing after it was not difficult. The only thing that irritated him was that the fishman would stop after every step it took, sometimes using the club to smash its surroundings. Wei Xiaobei even wished that he could just kill it then and there. However, no matter how slow it would still reach the end. As Wei Xiaobei continued to follow it, a wide lake appeared in his sights. The lake was surrounded by gray-colored reed. The fishman suddenly became happy when it reached the place, as it increased its speed. This place was the famous ABBR title equals Chui Hu, also means Green Lake, Lake Chui/ABBR, and was the origin of the name Chui Hu City. Wei Xiaobei had previously came here before and even played there as a child, so he was not unfamiliar with it. However, the Lake Chui in front of Wei Xiaobei was different from the Lake Chui that he knew. The Lake Chui was supposed to be 3 kilometers away from the road, but more than half of the road had disappeared, moving the Lake Chui closer by about 2 kilometers. Naturally, Wei Xiaobei still did not know fully the relationship between the dust world and the real world. Thus Wei Xiaobei still did not feel any doubt about the strange things that appeared in this world. Wei Xiaobei quickly discovered a village by the lake side as he followed the fishman. The entire village occupied about 1/3 of a hectare. A large half of the village was on top of the waters. There were more than 10 grass huts, giving the entire village a simple and crude appearance. The village appeared to be quiet, as if there was no one inside. However, there were 2 fishmen guarding the entrance of the village. Both of them held a black harpoon as they patrolled outside. The 2 fishmen did not have any reaction to the appearance of the approaching fishman. They only looked at each other before it entered the village. It was just as I expected. There was a village of fishmen close by. Wei Xiaobei did not act blindly without thinking. He lied down on the reed thicket and quietly observed the fishmen village. Time slowly went on. The dust world's sun looked darker than in the real world. However, it was not as gentle as the autumn sun. It was hot and damp to the point that Wei Xiaobei felt incredibly uncomfortable. Sweat continually dropped from his head. However, this kind of patience was a virtue on its own. A loud crashing sound suddenly echoed from the lake's surface after observing for 20 minutes. Wei Xiaobei immediately wiped the sweat on his forehead while rigidly staring in that direction. Countless fishmen appeared from the lake surface. A few fishmen were holding fish, a few of them were holding lotus roots and other food of the same type. They happily and excitedly went up to the shore. A few small fishmen, who had just reached knee height, came out from the grass huts, heading towards the incoming fishmen and greeted them. Soon, the entire fishmen village became noisy. The strange sound unique to fishmen echoed in the surroundings, as if they were a disorderly crowd. It seems that now should be the time for the fishmen to have their meal. Those fishmen brought out a huge iron cooking pot from who knows where. They begun boiling the water and placing all the food they brought back into the pot. Wei Xiaobei was slightly surprised at the level of culture that these fishmen had. Knowing how to make fire and preserving it was something that separated intelligent creatures from normal animals. Disregarding the fact that these fishmen ate humans, they were already considered as intelligent creatures. The only thing was that their culture was too primitive. Of course, these things did not have any significance for Wei Xiaobei. He was not some kind of biologist. He was a hunter excited from his previous hunt. The only thing he needed to think about right now was how to lure his prey out from the village and kill them one by one. Wei Xiaobei cautiously left Lake Chui and returned to the streets. After looking around once more, he made a concave turn by the lake side. The place he ended up was a few kilometers away from the fishmen village. A hemp rope, a dry reed stalk, a thin needle as the fishhook, and the club were put together by Wei Xiaobei to form a simple fishing rod. The reed stalk was hooked onto the fishhook as bait. The reed stalk originally had its own sweetness, but Wei Xiaobei had also bit his thumb and painted it with his blood. By doing this, it should be able to entice more fish to come. He casted the wooden club, and the fishhook entered the murky water with the bait. Wei Xiaobei kept his sight on the reed floater. Although he was not an expert in fishing, he more or less had a bit of knowledge on it. The reed floater soon made violent movements. In a few moments, the reed floater had sunk into the water, and even the top part of the club had entered the water. A strong force came through. If Wei Xiaobei had not kept his vigilance, the wooden club might have been dragged into the water. Could this be a big catch? Wei Xiaobei was pleasantly surprised at this thought. This was, after all, the joyous feeling of a hunter when his prey had been caught in a trap. Soon after, the pulling force from the water grew stronger. Wei Xiaobei needed to concentrate all of his attention just to stop the wooden club from leaving his hand. He was also lucky that the hemp rope was thick enough, although it was not as good as a normal fishing line, it was enough to bear the current pulling force. The hemp rope stretched and rocked in the water, as if there was a giant monster in the water pulling it. Gradually, the force under the water weakened. Wei Xiaobei took this opportunity to strongly yank it. A crashing sound could be heard from the water surface. He saw a black figure streak across the sky being pulled by the hemp rope, landing on the ground with its thick arms still gripping the rope. The black figure struggled and jumped about on dry land. Wei Xiaobei took this chance to hit it with the wooden club twice. The two hits were not light by any means. The black figure's struggle became weaker after these two heavy attacks. It was only then that Wei Xiaobei carefully sized up the fish he caught. This fish was completely different from any of the fish he knew, and the types of fish that Wei Xiaobei had seen before were not few. He had seen many variations of carps and even the famous Chinese sturgeons before. However, the thing that was slowly struggling on the ground could not actually be defined as a fish. It was 30 centimeters long with thick arms. Its entire body was covered by a layer of blue membrane. It had a human head the size of a fist, but the facial features were visible, even the mole between its brows could be seen. Apart from this, it had 2 arms with eyes on the end instead of hands. Its pupils were white, and instead of a tail, it had a human's hand. This strange human-headed fish looked extremely sinister. It even bared its sharp teeth at Wei Xiaobei. In fact, it looked like a randomly assembled miniature human being. Wei Xiaobei was forced to gain knowledge about this world. However, this strange human-headed fish made the hair on his back stand on its ends. His body suddenly could not move from the goosebumps. He suddenly noticed that the human-headed fish seemed to be growing bigger. Its rows of sharp teeth were slowly reaching towards him, as if his head was being sucked into its mouth. At this moment, a current of electricity came from Wei Xiaobei's body. A weak electricity exploded in between Wei Xiaobei and the strange human-headed fish. Ouch! Wei Xiaobei was immediately freed from his bewitched state. However, Wei Xiaobei's entire body felt tired and weak. Although he did not know what had happened, his first reaction was to grab the wooden club and fiercely smash the strange human-headed fish. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. After 10 hits, Wei Xiaobei ran out of strength and let go of the wooden club, his entire body becoming limp. However, even when he was in a weakened state such as this, he did not let go of his guard, staring at the human-headed fish. The strange human-headed fish was now beaten beyond recognition. It was definitely dead. A strange smell began to fill the air while carrying a faint fragrance. Wei Xiaobei couldn't help become excited when he smelled this fragrance. He had already smelled this familiar yet unfamiliar fragrance a few times already. This meant that the human-headed fish was bound to have something good in its body, like the thunderworm electric ball and the fishman water ball. Wei Xiaobei forced himself to stand up. He grabbed the dagger on his waist and dissected the human-headed fish. This was not a hard thing to do, as the human-headed fish's death had softened its body. With a light cut, he had been able to slice it in half. After searching for a while, Wei Xiaobei found a strange meatball. It did not look that much like a meatball. It would be more accurate to call it a human head-shaped meatball. Its appearance was that of an extremely pretty head with a face that carried a deathly still smile. Fuck! What kind of thing is this? Wei Xiaobei couldn't help curse it in his heart. When he had taken out the object, his items on hand status changed. Items on hand: Fiendish Man Fish Essence. Fiendish Man Fish Essence. Seeing this name, Wei Xiaobei was a bit suspicious and immediately placed his attention on it. A small description soon appeared in his mind. Fiendish Man Fish Essence, essence of a fiendish man fish, not poisonous. Has a slight fantasy creation side effect. The description was not that clear, but at the very least, he was able to know what the strange human-headed fish was called. Fiendish Man Fish. This fiendish man fish was trash if it was not in water. When it is pulled ashore, anyone could easily put it to death. However, Wei Xiaobei also knew that dealing with the hallucination that he saw was not easy. He even had a premonition that he would be dead if he did not release his electricity at that moment. If this was all taken into consideration, this fiendish man fish's fighting strength was greater than those fishmen. Under the influence of the hallucination, even a martial arts expert like Chen Baiwu would not be able to resist it. Should I eat it? Wei Xiaobei hesitated a bit. He did not have any more doubts at the description provided by the status panel. Since it said that it was not poisonous, then there would definitely be no poison. The problem was that the fiendish man fish essence was disgusting to look at, especially its pretty miniature human head shape. Right now, Wei Xiaobei was probably feeling the same as Tang Seng from Journey to the West, when he was eating ginseng fruit. Other than those who were deranged, no one would not have any psychological barrier from eating another human. However, in the end, Wei Xiaobei still swallowed the fiendish man fish essence. The meatball entered his throat and into his stomach. A warm flowing sensation suddenly spread all around his body. Wei Xiaobei was already familiar with this change, thus he was not terrified at all. However, Wei Xiaobei immediately noticed that something was wrong. He suddenly appeared in his apartment room, but there was a long-haired naked woman laying down beside him with her back facing him. What is this? Wei Xiaobei's ears reddened. The woman turned around, and he noticed that it was actually Li Lanxing. Li Lanxing was completely naked, exposing her snow-white skin. She combed her long flowing locks with her fingers and looked at Wei Xiaobei with a charming smile. What's wrong? Are you afraid now? Li Lanxing's bell-like voice and lovely smile caused Wei Xiaobei's desire to quickly rise from within him. His entire body gradually heated up, and his mouth became dry. His lower body also immediately swelled. Wei Xiaobei suppressed his rising desire. Sister Lan, did you walk into the wrong room? After saying this, he reluctantly moved his eyes away from Li Lan Xing's delicate body. I didn't. Do you not want me? Li Lan Xing extended her hand and lightly pulled Wei Xiaobei, forcing him to lie down. At this moment, Wei Xiaobei's mind turned blank. The desire in his heart had erupted like a volcano, as the tiny amount of reason left in his mind burned to nothing. His hands trembled as he quickly grabbed the plump, snow-white mountains. Her faint breathing was filled with enticement as it echoed in the room. Ah! After crazily shouting, Wei Xiaobei finally woke up from the hallucination. To be more accurate, it was a dream. Wei Xiaobei, who was lying on the reeds, touched his moist underwear. He couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. However, everything in the hallucination felt real. His own fingers seemed as if it had just let go of those snow-white mountains, carrying a woman's scent. Wei Xiaobei knew that the dreamlike hallucination was a side effect caused by the fiendish man-fish essence. He had to admit that he had indeed previously fantasized about living a happy life with the beautiful Li Lan Xing, but this felt too real. He had even seen a mole on the side of her inner thighs. Although he felt a bit of guilt, he did not regret having this dream. The only problem Wei Xiaobei felt was the realization that he was so pent up, that he could have an erotic dream even at this time. The other thing was that his vigilance was too lacking. He had actually taken in an object that could cause hallucination while beside a lake. If he had carelessly rolled into the lake, who knows what would have happened to him. Just from the fish that he caught, it could already be understood that the Lake Chui in this dust world was not some holy place. Wei Xiaobei threw back the confusion in his mind. He placed his attention on the status panel. Name, Wei Xiaobei. Race, human. Gender, male. Age, 21. Creature rank, 1 star. Status, the average adult male status value is 10. Strength, 11.53, muscle, 13.03, sturdiness, 10.03. Agility, 9.78, hand-eye coordination, 9.03, flexibility, 11.03, reflex, 11.03, balance, 8.03. Vitality, 10, health, 9, endurance, 11. Intelligence, 7, learning, 6, reasoning, 8. Awareness, 9.25, willpower, 12, judgment, 8, perception, 7, intuition, 10. Charm, 7.24, courage, 10, persuasiveness, 7, character, 7.1, leadership, 5, appearance, 7.1. Skills, shooting, intermediate, military boxing, intermediate, electrical work, beginner, Bajiquan, intermediate. Special skill, release electricity, maximum strength 13 volts. Maximum current 4.5 mA. This skill was formed after Wei Xiaobei ate the Thunder Worm electric ball. Maintaining a constant output for a long period could allow this skill to level up. Using this while exercising would stimulate strength and slowly increase agility. Evolution points, 30. Items on hand, none. The charm attribute in the status panel had risen. His character and appearance had increased by 0.1 points, and 10 points were added to his evolution points. These were the benefits of swallowing the fiendish man-fish essence. Additionally, the voltage in his release electricity had increased to 13 volts, and electric current rose to 4.5 mA. This was the benefit of using his skill while he was in a state of hallucination. His evolution points had only increased by 10 points, but with the amount that was added to his charm attribute, this fiendish man-fish had actually given him 20 points all in all. Wei Xiaobei looked at Lake Chui with excitement. A fishman would give him 10 evolution points, furthermore they were all assembled in the village. Dealing with them would not be easy. Wei Xiaobei quickly became hungry after releasing electricity at full power. Luckily, This time, he had filled his backpack with hardtacks and water. After eating his fill, Wei Xiaobei relaxed a bit and rested. He soon stood back up and continued fishing. However, the population of fiendish man-fish in this area didn't seem to be much. Wei Xiaobei waited for half an hour, yet he had not caught anything. Thus he changed his location to about 200 meters away. Naturally, he did not forget to put the corpse of the fiendish man-fish in a plastic bag and into his bag. This was something he planned to lure the fishmen with. He did not forget about his original goal at all. After failing time and again while using the bloodied reed, Wei Xiaobei looked at the fiendish man-fish's corpse. Wei Xiaobei rubbed the reed on the fiendish man-fish's corpse, moistening it with its strange green-colored blood, and once again casted his line. This time, he did not have to wait for long before the reed floater sunk. A strong pulling force soon came from the hemp rope. Wei Xiaobei held the rod tightly while standing with his legs slightly crouched and apart. He leaned his body and fought against the pulling force with his own pulling force. He had already experienced fishing a fiendish man-fish once, so he adopted a left-right movement to guide the catch closer to the shore. He waited for the catch to reach a certain distance from the shore and used all of his strength to turn it to a different direction. After doing this a few times, the prey that he was wrestling with had slightly weakened. At this moment, Wei Xiaobei stopped holding back. He used all of his arm strength to immediately pull the rod, sending the fish flying towards the shore. Wei Xiaobei did not even wait for it to land. He took a huge stride and used the club to strike the fish. This current situation was better than his previous attempt. The only problem he encountered was, when he was about to hit the fish, he became a little dizzy. But after the club hit the fish, the dizziness disappeared. He continuously hit the fish 10 more times before it stopped moving. Wei Xiaobei did not dare become careless. Before he landed another attack, he took the chance to carefully observe the fish. It really is another fiendish man-fish. The fiendish man-fish was not even able to retaliate because Wei Xiaobei was prepared. This time, he quickly smashed it to death. What happened afterwards did not even need to be mentioned. Wei Xiaobei easily used the knife to cut open the fiendish man-fish and grabbed the fiendish man-fish essence inside. He washed it with mineral water before swallowing it. The usual warm feeling spread around his body, giving rise to an indescribable happiness. He looked at his status panel and without a doubt, his character and appearance attributes had increased by 0.1 points, while his evolution points had increased by 10. Wei Xiaobei couldn't help become elated at this effect. After entering the dust world a couple of times, Wei Xiaobei had made a rough estimation on his time in the dust world. It was around 2 to 4 hours. The sign of leaving the world would be his mind becoming tired. Based on his current mental state, he should be able to stay in the dust world for another 2 more hours. The process of bringing the fiendish man-fish up included guiding the fish, lifting the rod, and killing the fish. This needed around half an hour. If he increased the speed of fishing, he could probably kill 4 fiendish man-fish. This could already be considered as quite a profit. Although the fishmen looked easy to deal with, tempting an individual fishman and eliminating it would not be an easy thing to do. Even the dumbest wild animal knew how to seek luck and avoid calamity, let alone these somewhat intelligent fishmen. Wei Xiaobei could probably eliminate 2 to 3 fishmen, but after these fishmen disappeared, the other fishmen might not fall for the trap anymore. Moreover, the fishmen village did not only contain normal fishmen, they also had elite fishmen. Just those 2 fishmen, who were standing at the entrance, were much more stronger than normal fishmen. Wei Xiaobei could already understand this just by looking at their muscles. Thus, as long as nothing went wrong, fishing for fiendish man-fish along the Green Lake's shores was much more profitable than hunting those fishmen. Although the additional points to character and appearance did not seem much, Wei Xiaobei believed that the attributes in the status panel each had their uses. Splash! The sound of water echoed as Wei Xiaobei once again sent a fiendish man-fish ashore. He immediately struck it and continued until it did not move anymore. Wei Xiaobei rubbed his aching forehead, signifying that it was almost time for him to leave the dust world. After swallowing the fiendish man-fish essence, he ignored the warmth spreading around his body and quickly left the vicinity of the green lake. Wei Xiaobei knew that it was already too late for him to return to the apartment, thus he needed to find a safe place to leave the dust world. He quickly found a withered reed nest 200 meters away from the lake. Wei Xiaobei made his way in and used the reeds to cover himself. When he lied down, his eyelids instantly closed like a steel gate, as he quickly fell asleep. Wei Xiaobei awoke and the first thing he did was look around him. In truth, he was worried that he would wake up on the side of a road, a pig pen or even a manure hole. However, he saw that he had returned to his apartment room. He immediately let out a sigh of relief. Based on his current situation, Wei Xiaobei guessed that every time he returned to reality, he would return back to the place he used as an entrance. The question now was that if he entered from a different place, would he still return back to his apartment when he leaves the dust world? From Wei Xiaobei's point of view, these things were not that important for the time being. For now, he still hadn't found a safe place to enter the dust world other than his apartment room, so he was still entering from his room. Wei Xiaobei drank a glass of water and lied down on the bed. He closed his eyes and looked at the status panel in his mind. Name, Wei Xiaobei. Race, human. Gender, male. Age, 21. Creature rank, 1 star. Status, the average adult male status value is 10. Strength, 11.53, muscle, 13.03, sturdiness, 10.03. Agility, 9.78, hand-eye coordination, 9.03, flexibility, 11.03, reflex, 11.03, balance, 8.03. Vitality, 10, health, 9, endurance, 11. Intelligence, 7, learning, 6, reasoning, 8. Awareness, 9.25, willpower, 12, judgment, 8, perception, 7, intuition, 10. Charm, 7.43, courage, 10, persuasiveness, 7, character, 7.6, leadership, 5, appearance, 7.6. Skills, shooting, intermediate, military boxing, intermediate, electrical work, beginner, Bajiquan, intermediate, fishing, beginner. Special skill, release electricity, maximum strength 13 volts. Maximum current 4.5 mA. This skill formed after Wei Xiaobei ate the thunderworm electric ball. Maintaining a constant output for a long period could allow this skill to level up. Using this while exercising would stimulate strength and slowly increase agility. Evolution points, 80. Items on hand, none. Wei Xiaobei become happy at the changes in his status panel. His journey to the dust world this time was not a waste. His character and appearance attributes had increased by 0.6 points, and his evolution points increased by 60 points. His total profit was 180 points, with 120 from the increased attribute values. Other than increasing his attributes and evolution points, he had gained the fishing, beginner, skill. This was without a doubt quite unexpected. Wei Xiaobei never imagined that catching 6 fiendish man-fishes could allow him to gain a skill. Unfortunately, this skill was not really that useful for him, so he did not plan to invest in this skill. Wei Xiaobei opened his eyes and looked at his phone. It was already 12:30, so he guessed that there was no difference in the time between both of the worlds. Wei Xiaobei got up from his bed and washed up. Preparing to eat lunch outside, he saw the piled-up bags of food that he bought on sale in the corner of the room, and hesitated a bit. The bags of food that he bought on sale were just expired hardtacks and other similar things. Wei Xiaobei could now simply eat and drink in the dojo if he wanted to, but throwing away hundreds of yuan worth of cheap food that has expired, was the same as cutting off his leg. He normally lived a frugal life, so the only reason he hesitated was because of the taste. He quickly washed the iron cooking pot, opened packs of hardtack, and started boiling them. No matter what, Wei Xiaobei had to get rid of all these cheap foods. Sigh, what a waste. Naturally, if he wanted to quickly get rid of all these foods, he could use his release electricity special skill. Wei Xiaobei, after a while, began to feel bored waiting in front of the stove. When he heard sounds coming from the corridor, he opened the apartment door to take a look. At this time, there were a lot of people walking in the corridor. Since it was now lunchtime, people with rice bowls were all crouching around and chatting. Workers in modern cities were lonesome creatures. Thus when two people begin a conversation, a large amount of tenants would flock to the noise. It was a Saturday, so other than people like Wei Xiaobei who work in a 3-shift system, they would only wake up at this time. After all, taking naps while working in big cities was a hard thing to do. Zhang Tian, who lived in the apartment room across Wei Xiaobei, went out wearing pajamas while carrying a thin enamel bowl. Her rice was topped with Hunan-style sautéed meat. The fragrance of the food had entered Wei Xiaobei's nose from the moment he opened the door. The gamer shut-in Zhou Lijun, who lived beside him, looked a lot worse. His hair was like a bird's nest, and his clothes were stained here and there, making others want to puke at his appearance. He was holding onto a take-out rice box. It was already a miracle for a shut-in like him to not be eating instant noodles. Actually, most of the people there were eating rice boxes. Let alone the smell of his rice box, his appearance was already enough to make the people around him lose their appetites. The fourth room was Li Lanxing's. There was a stool beside her room, and on the stool was a large bowl emitting the smell of fragrant chicken soup. On the other hand, she was holding a bowl of rice with savory chicken legs. The strangest thing that happened though, was that when Li Lanxing saw Wei Xiaobei, her face immediately reddened, and she turned around, entering the room without even caring about the chicken soup on the stool. Wei Xiaobei greeted Zhang Tian, little sister Tian, did you cook food today? How virtuous. Your future husband would be able to live a happy life. Brother Wei, stop talking nonsense, Zhang Tian blushed. The feeling of success had filled Wei Xiaobei. He wanted to follow his victory by teasing Li Lanxing, but he never imagined that Li Lanxing would turn around and leave. He felt slightly mystified by this. Wei Xiaobei had unconsciously gained confidence since the last time he saw her. Even though he had only met little sister Tian twice, he had the courage to tease her. He had not even given it a second thought. In reality, he had even forgotten about the dream, that incredibly realistic dream, he had after eating the fiendish man fish essence in the dust world. Brother Wei, what are you eating for lunch? Zhang Tian blinked once and looked into Wei Xiaobei's room, trying to catch a glimpse. Unfortunately, Wei Xiaobei held the door with his left hand, hiding the contents of the room. No one could see inside the room even if he had cooked something. I already ate. Wei Xiaobei did not dare say that he planned to eat hardtacks for lunch, since he did not want to ruin the meager reputation he had to hold on to. Thus he made a bold statement on Zhang Tian's question and then looked at those neighbors, who were eating rice boxes, in disdain. Oh. Zhang Tian showed a bit of disappointment at Wei Xiaobei's words, but she still tried to invite Wei Xiaobei to taste her skills. This made the people, who were all eating rice boxes at the side, send death glares at Wei Xiaobei. If glares could kill, Wei Xiaobei would probably be filled with holes by now. Just looking at the food in Zhang Tian's bowl was enough to make Wei Xiaobei salivatate. He could not resist Zhang Tian's invitation. However, Wei Xiaobei immediately regretted when he ate a piece of sautéed meat. It was not because Zhang Tian was bad at cooking, but because of the hardtacks that he had stewing on the fire. After tasting something so good, how could he even eat the pot full of hardtacks? His cheeks were streaming with tears. After a single taste, Wei Xiaobei thanked Zhang Tian and resolutely returned to his room. Zhang Tian became disappointed at Wei Xiaobei's action of returning to his room. Moreover, neither Wei Xiaobei nor Zhang Tian noticed Li Lanxing hiding a little away, currently at a loss while looking at Wei Xiaobei's back. Li Lanxing's mind was a mess. The origin of this came from 2 hours ago. When she lied down on the bed and fell asleep, she suddenly had a dream that she could never have expected. She had actually dreamt about doing this and that with Wei Xiaobei inside the apartment room. Although Li Lanxing appeared cheerful and had a rough behavior, but deep down inside, she was a traditional Chinese woman. She had already been acquainted with her boyfriend Huang Dejun for more than 2 years and had lived with him for about 2 months, but she did not allow him to go over the limit. Kissing a few times was already the limit. There were 2 beds inside her apartment room. From this, it was easy to see Li Lanxing's nature. For this reason, Huang Dejun would complain from time to time. Thus Li Lanxing did not believe that she could have such an unrestrained dream, that she would actually take the initiative to seduce the slightly shy Wei Xiaobei. The wild actions between the two of them afterwards had far exceeded her preserved bottom line. After all, Li Lanxing had always viewed Wei Xiaobei as a little brother. If this was only a dream, then it was fine. Which person had never had an erotic dream before? However, she could feel something peculiar in her lower body after waking up from that dream. The faint pain below had caused Li Lanxing to lose her head out of fear. She only sighed in relief after making sure that the door was still the same as she last saw it and Huang Dejun was currently working overtime. This was only a dream, a very realistic dream. Li Lanxing thought that she had already adjusted her mind, but after seeing Wei Xiaobei, the sudden beating of her heart had made her react. In that moment, Li Lanxing even had suspicions that she had fallen in love with Wei Xiaobei. She became stuck in a maze of thoughts, and had even lost the mood to eat her favorite chicken soup. Wei Xiaobei, meanwhile, did not know anything about Li Lanxing's unusual condition. He closed the door to his room and checked the hardtack in the pot. It should be ready. He turned off the fire, poured the thick paste made from hardtack into a large bowl, placing it on top of the coffee table. He stirred it, cooling it down with an electric fan, and touched it after 10 minutes. The temperature is just right. However, Wei Xiaobei did not immediately eat this tasteless hardtack congee. Rather he extended his hand and grabbed a copper wire on the kitchen bench. When he grabbed the copper wire, bubbling sounds came out. After 5 to 6 seconds, Wei Xiaobei let go and pounced on the coffee table, scooped up the hardtack congee and poured it inside his mouth, chugging it. Ah, Wei Xiaobei sighed while eating the green-colored congee. Satisfaction apparent on his face. Of course, this wasn't because Wei Xiaobei had a split personality. After releasing so much electricity, Wei Xiaobei entered a state of extreme hunger. Only by eating food could he alleviate this kind of hunger which caused his brain to send a signal of happiness from being full. However, the expired hardtack was truly tasteless. This was even amplified after eating Zhang Tian's sautéed meat. This was the cause of Wei Xiaobei's contradictory appearance. Soon, the congee made of 6 pieces of hardtacks had been cleanly eaten by him after releasing electricity 2 more times. However, when he looked at the rest of the piled-up expired food, he knew that today would be full of hardships. Wei Xiaobei, are you there? Bang! 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 A banging sound on the door came after the deep voice. This voice sounds familiar. Wei Xiaobei heard a familiar voice while he was busy trying to get rid of the expired food. When he opened the door, a fatty stood there while from time to time, wiping the sweat on his body. This person was his landlord. Uncle Li, please come in and have a seat. The landlord did not live in the apartment. His last name was Li, first name Chao Yang, currently more than 40 years old and jobless. There were 4 apartments in this street that belonged to his family and he relied on the rent to live. He was a bit stingy and loved to take advantage of anything. However, Wei Xiaobei did not come into contact with him all that much. Thanks but no thanks. I have come today to collect the rent. What is that smell? Li Chaoyang's nose twitched as he doubtfully extended his head to take a look inside the room. The smell of the room had become slightly bad after cooking 5 pots of hardtack. Wei Xiaobei awkwardly smiled, cooking food, but my skills are a little bad. As he said this, Wei Xiaobei took out the money and gave it to Li Chaoyang. Luckily, Li Chaoyang did not care about other people as long as they did not burn down the room. However, Li Chaoyang's words before he left, made Wei Xiaobei's mood take a dive. Oh right. Xiaobei, the prices of goods are currently rising fast. Uncle Li also need to live, so starting next month, the rent will go up by 100 yuan. Wei Xiaobei looked at Li Chaoyang's leaving back, wishing that he could just kick that fat ass of his. 100 yuan. The original rent was 600 yuan, including utility expenses. This amount was already not cheap. Adding another 100 next month would make it 700 yuan. Does he still want others to live? However, even if the rent increased to 1,000 yuan a month, Wei Xiaobei, for the time being, would still choose to stay there. I really need to think of a way to earn money. If I really have no choice, I could probably borrow from master. Wei Xiaobei thought about his money problems, while swallowing down the thick hardtack congee. When he had eaten through around 2/3 of the expired food, his phone rung. It was his second senior apprentice brother calling to ask why he still hadn't gone to the dojo. He quickly replied that he previously had something to do and that he would be there soon. Wei Xiaobei wiped the sweat off his forehead after hanging up. He looked at the time and saw that it was almost 3 o'clock. No wonder his second senior apprentice brother called him. He looked at the pile of expired food and decided to give up finishing them in one go. He thought that he should at least keep a bit of food in his apartment in case of emergencies. Let alone the fact that he had eaten 10 pots of hardtack congee, just looking at the remaining bags of hardtack made him want to puke. He quickly got on the bus after leaving the apartment and moved to the corner, closed his eyes, and looked at his status panel. Although releasing electricity increased the voltage, the growth rate of the electric current was much more lower. However, after releasing electrical energy for more than 50 times, the special skill had increased a lot. Now, releasing electricity could allow him to release 34 volts, leaving just 2 more volts before he exceeded voltage safety levels. However, 34 volts could already generate pain on the people he touched. The electric current on the other hand had increased to 9.5 milliamperes, but the safety limit was 10 milliamperes. However, 8 milliamperes was enough to cause a spasm in every part of the human body. In other words, Wei Xiaobei currently only needed to release electricity to give others a serious electric shock. The only troublesome thing was the upper limit of the voltage and electric current. The growth rate of the skill was getting lower, and maybe, it would even take longer to level it up in the near future. Wei Xiaobei thought about this for a while as he scanned the inside the bus randomly. Is that? A skinny, vulgar businessman wearing gold-framed glasses was currently squeezed up against a girl's back and shaking his butt from time to time. The girl was currently blushing hard, as she tried to move forward, attempting to evade the man. Any man could guess what was happening when they looked at the situation. This was, without a doubt, a real molester. If it was 20 years ago, whoever did this in public would immediately become the target of scorn, to the point that they would be beaten up. But now, as long as people, themselves, were not the target, they would not dare brave the dangers to stop this. If it was Wei Xiaobei before, he might at least try to stop the molester, but it would end there. After all, society was too complex. Even if he did good things, it would lead to a bad end most of the time. However, the current Wei Xiaobei was different. He now had a strong body, great skills, and unshakable courage. He pushed aside the people, who were intentionally watching the scene, and placed his hand on the businessman's shoulder. It was a blistering hot summer. Even if the businessman was wearing a suit, it was impossible to block the electric current's assault. After all, his t-shirt was already soaked in sweat. The man felt that today was the best day of his life. He had just got on the bus and immediately noticed a pretty girl. Her soft and delicate body had immediately caught his eyes. Unconsciously, he found himself squeezed up towards the girl and stuck to her back. He immediately lost all control when he smelled the virgin fragrance coming from her. The happiest thing for him was that the girl did not shout loudly at his assault. This made his actions even more unrestrained. His brain even began thinking about plans to drag this girl somewhere quiet. While he was carefully tasting the girl's soft body, someone's hand landed on his shoulders and pulled him backwards, tearing him away from the girl. Mother, eh. The thought of being discovered had surprised the man, but he was used to doing these things, so he already had a plan. He was about to berate the other side, but he suddenly felt pain from his shoulder as if something had bitten him. The sharp pain rapidly spread throughout his body, causing his body to tremble. Wei Xiaobei would never give others the chance to curse at him, let alone this worthless man. In an instant, Wei Xiaobei released all his electrical energy. Even the hairs of all the passengers around him were standing up, causing an illusion that they were being sucked in by something. Wei Xiaobei only relaxed his hand after the bus reached the station. He quickly got down the bus and the man soon after alighted after him, limping on the ground as if all his bones were gone, scaring all the passengers. Wei Xiaobei could not be bothered paying attention to the things that were happening behind him, but it was easy to imagine the businessman's unscrupulous appearance after being electrocuted. He might have even developed a trauma from it. Because he released all his electricity, Wei Xiaobei currently could feel a black hole forming in his stomach, causing extreme hunger. While walking along the road, he was almost tempted to stop for food along the way. However, he touched his wallet and firmly suppressed his hunger. When he entered the dojo, he immediately headed to the kitchen and saw Qing Cc, who was washing the dishes. Wei Xiaobei quickly cried for help, "Little senior apprentice sister, is there anything left to eat?" Qing Cc was unsatisfied at the way Wei Xiaobei addressed her. "Can you remove the word little in the way you address me?" Saying this, Qing Cc took out a plate of barbecue from the cupboard and let Wei Xiaobei eat his fill first. Then she prepared hot water and began kneading dough. It was impossible for only that much barbecue to fill up Wei Xiaobei. After he finished eating, he wandered around Qing Cc. Qing Cc couldn't help bitterly smiling at Wei Xiaobei's pitiful appearance. "Junior apprentice brother, what's wrong? Did you not eat for 3 days?" Wei Xiaobei was truly not accustomed to hearing the younger Qing Cc calling him junior apprentice brother. However, based on the time they entered discipleship and their achievements in Bajiquan, Qing Cc was much stronger than Wei Xiaobei, thus he was called junior apprentice brother. He bitterly smiled at Qing Cc's question. He did not know how to answer her at all. Should I tell her the entire situation? Who am I kidding? Let's not talk about whether other would believe me or not. Even if they did believe me, it still would not be a good thing for me. Do I just agree with her? That's also a bad choice. Thus, lowering his head and keeping quiet was his best choice. Naturally, Qing Cc, who was kneading dough, simply did not count on Wei Xiaobei to answer her question, and continued her words, "You must eat when it is time to eat. Otherwise, you might develop a stomach illness, which would be tragic." Wei Xiaobei actually smiled at Qing Cc's nagging. He felt that the words of Qing Cc, who was about to go to college in a month, was similar to his mother. If Qing Cc knew what Wei Xiaobei was thinking, she might immediately knead the big ball of dough into his face. "Are you fine with knife-shaved noodles?" Qing Cc threw down the dough that was the size of 2 heads onto the chopping board before asking about Wei Xiaobei's tastes. Wei Xiaobei also knew that even if he answered that he was not fine with it, Qing Cc would still not put back the dough ball. This was probably related to the fact that she learned martial arts as a kid. Her nature was much more unyielding compared to other girls of her age. Wei Xiaobei spoke words of agreement, but Cheng Cixi was not paying attention at all. The knife on her hands moved so quickly at the dough. The noodles that had been cut out looked like a waterfall going into the pot. This move was enough to make Wei Xiaobei gasp in amazement. This was the benefit of training for a long time, it allowed the hands to move very fast. However, cutting noodles was a small matter from Cheng Cixi's viewpoint. The last time Wei Xiaobei came to help in the kitchen, Cheng Cixi was holding on to 2 butcher knives and fiercely chopping up meat on the chopping board. Every single piece of meat chopped off from the spare ribs seemed to have the same size and shape. The entire process could probably even be used as part of a film. Without exerting any effort, a large bowl of fresh knife-shaved noodles came out of the pot. After putting in minced meat, the smell of noodles and meat mixed together made Wei Xiaobei drool. He impatiently grabbed the large bowl due to extreme hunger. He didn't even care about the temperature of the noodles. He only blew a few times and ate it with relish as he slurped down the noodles. After eating more than half the bowl, Wei Xiaobei's hunger had been somewhat suppressed. He began to slow down and gave Cheng Cixi a thumbs up. He complimented her, "Little senior apprentice sister, your skills are truly not bad." Cheng Cixi's eyes formed a crescent moon at Wei Xiaobei's praise. Being complimented was the greatest praise that a girl, who was good at cooking, could receive. "I told you to stop adding little. There are still noodles in the pot. Tidy up by yourself, your senior apprentice sister is going out to buy stuff." Cheng Cixi pretended to be angry and left the kitchen. Wei Xiaobei did not pay any attention to Cheng Cixi's departure, continuing to eat the knife-shaved noodles. Cheng Cixi's skills were truly not bad. The knife-shaved noodles were cut cleanly and appeared like a willow leaf. It would enter the mouth smoothly. Its soft and smooth texture facilitated the taste of noodles after chewing a few times. Combine it with minced meat, and it could make anyone drool. The only regret Wei Xiaobei had was that if he could just add chili oil and salted eggs, the meal would have been better. After he finished eating, Wei Xiaobei tidied up the dishes and then walked to the outside practice ground while stretching his waist. It was almost 3 in the afternoon and there were already a few students who were warming up and training. His second senior apprentice brother, Zhang Zhilong, was explaining a few things to the new students, while his big senior apprentice brother, Lu Jiancheng, was leaning against a tree, as usual. Seeing Wei Xiaobei come out, Zhang Zhilong told the new students to practice by themselves and greeted Wei Xiaobei, "Xiaobei, why haven't you eaten these few days?" Wei Xiaobei's face reddened at his second senior apprentice brother's teasing. He knew that it was his little senior apprentice sister who had spread this about him. Trying to change the topic, he said, "Second brother, why aren't master and third brother here?" Zhang Zhilong was only teasing Wei Xiaobei, so he did not pursue the matter further. He answered his question, "I heard that master was paying a visit to an old friend." Although Wei Xiaobei used his evolution points on Bajiquan, making his Bajiquan reach intermediate level, it did not mean that he need not to train. Training in the foundations could allow him to become more familiar with his body. Bajiquan was martial art that cultivated the inside and outside of a body. There were many forms and patterns to train in the outer force which was used to defeat enemies. The inner force was used to strengthen the mind, soul, blood flow, and qi, serving as a foundation both inside and outside the body. In simpler terms, this was the so-called Nei Gong or inner force, a technique used to raise the body's foundation. There were countless breathing techniques, and even techniques to protect the dantian under the training of such techniques. By breathing and exhaling slowly and deeply, it could expel the impurities in the body, exercise the viscera, and strengthen the internal organs. Jiao Shigong, a breathing technique used to inspect the body in order to use qi and blood to treat the injuries and diseases. Breathing naturally annihilates anxiety and protects the dantian. This should be done after training or during noon in a place where there is fresh air. By treating the world as an illusion, one could see their own body and inspect it to the arteries and veins. Apart from that, there was also Yang Mu Gong, Song Er Gong, Gu Qi Gong, Qi Ju Gong, Ma Bu Gong, Ban Ma Zhuang, and many other inner force techniques. Truth be told, training up Nei Gong alone would take up 6 hours per day. Including all the other routine patterns in martial arts, even 10 hours would not be enough. This was also the reason why his master, second senior apprentice brother, and other people wanted him to help out in the dojo instead of going to work. If Wei Xiaobei stayed in the real estate company, he would simply have not enough time to train. However, even if Wei Xiaobei continued to train like this, he would still able to obtain a lot in this half a month. Wei Xiaobei trained until it was dinner time. Cheng Baiwu and his third senior apprentice brother had yet to return. They only returned at around 8:30, barely able to stand on their feet. This made Wei Xiaobei puzzled. It was obvious that they had gone drinking. Cheng Baiwu called Wei Xiaobei over and let him do drills. He nodded his head after looking at it once. Wei Xiaobei's progress was so fast that it made Cheng Baiwu become agitated. He was afraid that Wei Xiaobei's foundation was not stable enough. From the day before yesterday, he instructed Zhang Zhilong to teach Wei Xiaobei even new things to give him a bit more pressure. He did not know that this was not Wei Xiaobei's innate gift but the benefit of having the status panel. Naturally, the status panel only gave Wei Xiaobei the corresponding degree of Bajiquan, but if he truly wanted to grasp Bajiquan knowledge, he had to continuously train. Another half a month went by. In this half a month, Wei Xiaobei went to work every day but also worked hard in training Bajiquan, completely forgetting to enter the dust world. He was on a night shift today and it was his last day in the company. The company had also already found somebody to replace him. When he got off work at 8:30 in the morning, most of his colleagues congratulated him. Although they did not know why he resigned, they thought that he must have found better work. Based on convention, when someone leaves a company, everyone would go out to drink and eat. Naturally, the person retiring would foot the bill. Wei Xiaobei was not someone who did not understand society, thus he entrusted engineer Zhang to tell the other colleagues that he will treat everyone to hot pot that night. He rode the elevator up to the 38th floor, the Hao Real Estate Company's headquarters, and went to the Human Resources Department and the Financial Department to finish a few procedures. He looked at the 1,000 plus yuan and the old age insurance certificate in his hand with a bit of sorrow. From today on, he seemed to have entered a different stage of life. Since it was still quite a while before night time, he returned back to the apartment after eating breakfast. It was already 8:40, so the corridor was quiet, as most of the tenants had already went to work. Wei Xiaobei lied on his bed and closed his eyes, looking at his status panel. He concentrated on his Bajiquan skill. His evolution points quickly disappeared as he concentrated on the skill. Without needing even a second, 80 evolution points were consumed, but despite this, Wei Xiaobei became flabbergasted as there was no change to the Bajiquan skill. What's going on? 80 evolution points was not a small sum to him. If he placed these points in his attribute, then his muscle attribute could increase to 13.83 points and his strength attribute would increase to 11.93 points. If he did this, his body strength would go up, and his fighting strength would go up. But now that he had already placed it in Bajiquan, the jokes were now on him. As Wei Xiaobei felt his gut wrench, he began to use his not-so-smart mind to think of the reason as to why this happened. After thinking for about 10 minutes, he had arrived at a rough answer. It was most likely due to him lacking in evolution points, or he needed another requirement other than evolution points to level up Bajiquan. He stopped hesitating after arriving at these two answers. He took out a bottle of wine from the base of his bed and chugged it down. Wei Xiaobei decided to go take a look at the dust world. In any case, he had already resigned and he did not need to go to the dojo in the morning. He gradually sunk into dizziness after chugging down the alcohol. Wei Xiaobei started to regain consciousness, waking up to the dull light and the broken house. He blankly looked at the poster of Zhang Jingying for a while, before he completely came to. I'm still in my apartment room. Wei Xiaobei slightly relaxed. This fact had assured Wei Xiaobei that wherever he slept was wherever he would appear in the dust world. It had no relation to the place he left in the dust world. His heart settled after confirming this point. Wei Xiaobei inspected his surroundings after waking up. He found that he was still wearing his backpack. The hardtacks and the 6 fiendish man-fish corpses were still inside. He was also holding onto his improvised fishing rod. After sorting out his things, he arrived at the courtyard and climbed up over the wall to see if there were any movements in the street. Perhaps it's been a long time that since a human had appeared here, but he could no longer see the fishmen in the streets. Wei Xiaobei walked towards Green Lake, placing most of his attention in front of him, while thinking through some things in his mind. What should I do next? Do I go lure out those fishmen, or do I go fishing? Fishing was undoubtedly the best way to earn evolution points. But compared to the fiendish man-fish, the threat of the fishmen village was greater. The fishmen also caught fish from everywhere around the lake. Wei Xiaobei could not know when he would bump into them. Moreover, the fiendish man-fish corpses in his backpack had already begun to rot. Wei Xiaobei couldn't help smiling as he walked towards the fishmen village. The fishmen village, as usual, had fishmen guards with iron pitchforks guarding the entrance. Compared to the first time he came here, the fishmen village seemed to be livelier. More than 10 young fishmen were frolicking around the village. 3 adult fishmen were cleaning the mess on the side. They should have just finished eating. Wei Xiaobei, who was lying down on a reed thicket, couldn't help looking at the dull gray sky. Being able to judge the time in the dust world was just wishful thinking. The dull gray sun in the sky had never moved even once. Even the color of the sky could not help in determining whether it was daytime, nighttime, or dusk. Wei Xiaobei could only guess that most of the fishmen in the village should be out catching fish at this time. It was very clear that these fishmen did not have a custom of storing food. Naturally, this might have something to do with their animalistic behavior. These fishmen would eat their harvests so clean, there would never be anything left. Wei Xiaobei hid his head back into the reed thicket and took out the fiendish man-fish corpse. He began cutting up the fish on a rock. The smell from the rotting fiendish man-fish could cause people to vomit. Luckily, the fishman's sense of smell was bad. Otherwise, Wei Xiaobei would have been noticed by those fishmen a long time ago. After spending 10 minutes, Wei Xiaobei had cut the 6 fishes into tiny pieces. He then walked towards the fishmen guards. He placed 30 pieces of fish meat in a straight line 10 meters apart until he was 30 meters away from the guards. And at the end of the trail, he created a few simple traps using reeds. He walked along the dense reed thicket on the lake side and threw a few pieces of meat towards the village entrance. Meanwhile, the 2 guards did not notice at all. Wei Xiaobei quietly retreated after doing this. He lied on his stomach and observed. The rotting stench of the meat had attracted a few strange-looking mosquitoes. The mosquitoes had quickly attracted one of the guards' attention. This fishman guard walked towards the piece of meat, and the mosquitoes quickly flew away. It wondered what the thing on the ground was. He picked it up and instantly threw it in his mouth. Wei Xiaobei was slightly regretful. If he knew that the fishman guard was so careless, he would have added an extra ingredient to the meat. Naturally, this was only in his imagination. After all, he still hadn't found any kind of usable poison in this dust world. The fishman guard soon found the other pieces of meat, picked them up and swallowing them instantly. The other fishman guard doubtfully looked at the other guard's actions, causing it to let out a strange sound. However, the fishman guard, who was eating the meat, did not pay any attention to the other guard at all and continued searching for more meat. Soon, it noticed a piece of meat 10 meters away, and then another 10 meters away. The fishman was lured out just like this, slowly moving closer to the trap that Wei Xiaobei had set up. Wei Xiaobei held his breath and followed behind the fishman guard approaching his trap. Finally, it stepped on the reed trap. Its body immediately tilted and one of its legs sunk down. Wei Xiaobei did not hesitate upon seeing this. He quickly strode forth and smashed down the wooden club on the fishman guard's head. However, something unexpected happened. When it heard Wei Xiaobei's footsteps, it reacted quickly by turning around its body and raised its pitchfork. Bang! A heavy sound echoed as the club hit the pitchfork. The pitchfork swayed as it blocked the club. The force Wei Xiaobei placed in the attack was not small. The recoil from hitting the pitchfork shook his right hand numb. When Wei Xiaobei prepared to hit it again, the fishman guard counterattacked, sending the pitchfork smashing towards him. The fishman guard was much faster and stronger than the elite fishmen, to the point that its strength was stronger than Wei Xiaobei by a bit. If it had not fallen into a trap and allowed Wei Xiaobei to ambush it, the fishman guard would have already poked a few holes on Wei Xiaobei's body. Ouch! Wei Xiaobei felt his right shoulder become heavy. A strong pain suddenly spread, as if his shoulders had been smashed to pieces. Half of his body suddenly weakened. The fishman guard quickly pulled out its foot from the trap after its successful attack. It retreated 2 steps with an evil grin and thrust the 2-meter-long pitchfork towards Wei Xiaobei's chest. This was one of the most dangerous situations Wei Xiaobei had encountered since entering the dust world. He could not muster any strength from his right shoulder. His club had already dropped to the ground. A small portion of his body had even been rendered useless. It would be difficult even if he wanted to evade. Risk it all. Wei Xiaobei's 12 points of willpower finally had its time to shine. Without panicking, he stared at the incoming pitchfork and waited for the moment it approached his chest. He raised his right hand with all of his strength, knocking against the pitchfork. And then, he tightly held onto it without letting go. His body had almost fallen down from the impact, but he was smiling. The fishman guard did not even worry about the human turning around the situation. However, in the next moment, the fishman guard suddenly felt a numbing pain from its hands that were holding onto the pitchfork. For some reason, it couldn't hold onto it anymore, let alone thrust it again. When Wei Xiaobei grabbed on the pitchfork, he used his special skill and released electricity. This time, the way he released electricity was different. Instead of using all of his electrical energy, he continuously discharged electricity. 34 volts of electricity and 9.5 milliamperes of electric current continuously flowed, heavily affecting the opponent. When the fishman guard's hands started to numb, he quickly let go of its pitchfork. Wei Xiaobei stood up and charged forward with all of his strength like a mad bison, instantly approaching the fishman guard and ramming his left shoulder on the fishman guard. Iron Mountain Lean. Its original name was Contact Lean. Because of its widespread fame, the intonation and name gradually changed, becoming Iron Mountain Lean. This Contact Lean was one of Bajiquan's close combat technique. While facing an enemy, approach them quickly, stick close to their chest, and continuously ram them, making the enemy lose their balance and suffer heavy injuries. Naturally, calling it Iron Mountain Lean sounded stronger than just Contact Lean. Although he had just learned Iron Mountain Lean and he couldn't even practice it every day like his master, he was still quite familiar with this move. Wei Xiaobei used all of his strength to knock against the fishman guard's chest. The fishman guard, however, was not weak, so Wei Xiaobei was only able to lightly knock it backward. However, he did not solely rely on the Iron Mountain Lean, he was also continuously releasing electricity. When the fishman guard wanted to retaliate, it was shocked numb by the electricity and lost its strength. Wei Xiaobei firmly planted his right foot on the ground and mustered power from his waist, once again, knocking his left shoulder on the fishman guard. The fishman guard's body numbed and once again it was pushed back, but this time the fishman guard already lost its strength to counterattack. Wei Xiaobei once again mustered his strength to knock against the fishman guard's chest. The fishman guard, who had lost control of its body, was sent flying backwards from this third attack, flying a few meters away, landing on a thicket of reeds. At this moment, Wei Xiaobei had already recovered from the injury on his right shoulder. He shot forward with the small knife already in his right hand and jumped like a galloping horse, kneeing the fishman guard in the face and thrusting his knife in its throat. Wei Xiaobei lost full control of his body. When he kneed the fishman guard, he rolled forward while pulling out the knife from its throat, causing blood to flow out from the wound. Wei Xiaobei steadied his body and once again threw himself against the fishman guard. He did not care whether it defended or not, he just used his dagger and targeted its vital points. He only stopped when the evolution points in his status panel changed. He sat beside the fishman guard's corpse and panted. Without a doubt, Wei Xiaobei had yet again made many mistakes this time. He misjudged the strength of the fishman guard and overestimated himself. The only fortune in this misfortune was that he had finally killed the fishman guard. Compared to the elite fishman, the fishman guard provided him with a lot more evolution points. Just killing one of them had given him 60 evolution points. The only thing he was unsatisfied about was that it did not give him a meatball like those elite fishmen. However, he could understand why. Killing an elite fishman would give him 20 evolution points, and eating the fishman water ball would give him another 20 evolution points, giving him a total of 40 evolution points. But this fishman guard had given him 60 evolution point and it wasn't able to shoot out water jets like an elite fishman. Naturally, with its strength and speed, a fishman guard should be able to deal with 2 elite fishmen without any problems. Should I put these evolution points in muscle or in Bajiquan? Or maybe I should use them to level up my special skill. Wei Xiaobei's mind spun as he rested. All of his 3 choices weren't bad. Increasing his muscle attribute would increase his strength attribute, thereby increasing his destructive power. As for Bajiquan and releasing electricity, it was thanks to their perfect combination that he was able to kill the fishman guard. Wei Xiaobei decided to put aside the special skill of releasing electricity for now. After all, he could still rely on releasing it to level it up. He felt that putting 60 evolution points in it was a bit of a waste. He also quickly eliminated his muscle attribute, leaving behind his Bajiquan. Naturally, the main reason he chose this was because he had already placed 80 points in it before. He wanted to know if it will change when he put 60 more points in it. The evolution points quickly disappeared as he concentrated on Bajiquan. When the 60 points decreased to 40 points, he felt his head ache as a wave of dizziness rushed towards his brain, and could no longer open his eyes. After a short period of time, Wei Xiaobei finally broke away from his state. He frowned and closed his eyes to look at his status panel. Name, Wei Xiaobei. Race, human. Gender, male. Age, 21. Creature rank, 1 star. Status, the average adult male status value is 10. Strength, 11.53, muscle, 13.03, sturdiness, 10.03. Agility, 9.78, hand-eye coordination, 9.03, flexibility, 11.03, reflex, 11.03, balance, 8.03. Vitality, 10, health, 9, endurance, 11. Intelligence, 7, learning, 6, reasoning, 8. Awareness, 9.25, willpower, 12, judgment, 8, perception, 7, intuition, 10. Charm, 7.43, courage, 10, persuasiveness, 7, character, 7.6, leadership, 5, appearance, 7.6. Skills, shooting, intermediate, military boxing, intermediate, electrical work, beginner, Bajiquan, advanced, fishing, beginner. Special skill, release electricity, maximum strength 34 volts. Maximum current 9.5 mA. This skill was formed after Wei Xiaobei ate the Thunder Worm electric ball. Maintaining a constant output for a long period could allow this skill to level up. Using this while exercising would stimulate strength and slowly increase agility. Evolution points, 40. Items on hand, none. It was clear from the changes in the status panel that he only needed to spend 20 points, or a total of 100 points to level up Bajiquan from intermediate to advanced. Wei Xiaobei then tried out Bajiquan techniques in an empty space by the lake. He spent a long time there training without a care until his body was completely drenched in sweat. He let out a smile when he stopped. Although he could be counted as skilled in Bajiquan before all this, his posture and stance was still not at a good level. As a result, when he trained in Bajiquan fighting, he would waste a lot of energy without making as big of a progress. But now that his Bajiquan level had increased to advanced, he was able to position himself properly, thereby allowing him to perform better. He had also become much more adept in Bajiquan's routine movements. Wei Xiaobei's current Bajiquan attainment was equal to the level a normal person would attain after training for 3 to 4 years. If he had leveled up Bajiquan to the advanced level before he lured out the Fishman guard, he might have even sent it flying by his first Iron Mountain lean. In other words, after he leveled up, Wei Xiaobei felt so rejuvenated it was as if he ate ice cream on a hot summer day. He calculated that he still had 3 more hours left inside the dust world. This should be enough time to lure out the other Fishman guard and eliminate it. He still had a lot of fiendish man fish meat left, so he carefully observed his surroundings and placed the meat on the ground with his right hand while keeping hold of the pitchfork in his left. When he got close to the Fishmen village, he once again lied down on the reed thicket and discreetly poked his head out to observe. At this time, more fishmen had appeared at the entrance of the village. Probably due to the other Fishman guard having disappeared for too long, the other Fishman guard seemed to have raised the alarm. There were now 20 fishmen led by an elite fishman heading out the village, searching all around the place. It was clear that the other fishmen did not want to go out as they lazily moved. After the elite fishman urged them with a few words, only then did they move slightly faster. However, as soon as the elite fishman turned around, the fishmen immediately slowed down, appearing almost half dead. However, when the elite fishman found the fiendish man fish meat, the other fishmen were suddenly revived from their half-dead state and immediately searched for more meat. It was very clear that those fishmen's craving for food had far surpassed a normal human's. This was most likely because it was very hard to find enough food in the dust world to fill their stomachs. Wei Xiaobei came up with another idea when he saw this scene. He placed the rest of the meat in a separate straight line. The fishmen group naturally separated into 2 as they followed the different lines. One group was led by the elite fishman with 7 fishmen, and this group followed the previous line that Wei Xiaobei made. The other group had 5 fishmen, and followed the line Wei Xiaobei was currently making. The group with the elite fishman was much more orderly. Whenever they picked up a piece of meat, they would divide it equally. The other group was different. The strengths of the 5 fishmen were about the same. As a result, disputes clearly arose within the group every time they picked up a piece of meat. Wei Xiaobei lured the latter group to a distance 300 meters away from the village. Because of the disputes that arose within the group, they had already risen their wooden clubs and started fighting each other. To tell the truth, Wei Xiaobei was dumbstruck when he saw this. For the sake of food, these fishmen would even ignore their camaraderie and smash their wooden clubs at each other. After about 2 minutes, 3 fishmen had fallen to the ground and the remaining 2 were glowering at each other. Wei Xiaobei went around the group and positioned himself behind one of the fishmen. Then he quickly charged forward. He was naturally first noticed by the fishman at the opposite side. The fishman immediately let out a sharp sound to inform his opponent that there was an enemy behind it. However, if Wei Xiaobei was in the other fishman's position, even he would not believe the other side's words. As a result, the fishman did not even turn around to look. On the contrary, it raised its club and started to attack, forcing the other side to fight back. When Wei Xiaobei was around 5 meters away, he stepped on a piece of dried reed, causing a sound which finally caught the fishman's attention. However, it no longer had a chance to retaliate as it noticed him too late. Wei Xiaobei pierced the fishman from behind with the pitchfork. Poochie. In one attack, the pitchfork had pierced through the fishman's back and out of its chest. Then Wei Xiaobei kicked the fishman's back and pulled out the pitchfork. The other fishman tried to raise its club and smash it towards Wei Xiaobei, but Wei Xiaobei easily used the back end of the pitchfork, and blocked the fishman. The club and the pitchfork collided, but Wei Xiaobei won with his brute strength. However, it still took him quite a bit of energy to finally kill the fishman. The reason for this was because he had never used this kind of weapon before. It seems that I should ask Master to teach me the 6-direction spear once I return. While thinking this, his hands did not stop at all. He walked towards a fallen fishman and ignored its frightened appearance, directly piercing it with his pitchfork. Poochie, the sharp pitchfork pierced through the fishman, killing it. He did the same to the other 3 fishmen just so that he could be fully assured. He then raised the pitchfork and hurried to the other group. Killing only 5 fishmen was not enough to make him stop. Today's opportunity was hard to come by. If he let those fishmen return to the village, finding another chance to do this would be difficult. After all, if he just attacked from the front, Wei Xiaobei would definitely not be able to win against a village of more than 70 fishmen. When he reached the other side, he discovered that they had actually fallen for his reed trap. On the surface, it seemed like good news, but actually, it was bad news. Even if his trap worked, it would not take long for the fishmen to free themselves. But hoping for a reed trap to be strong in the first place, was useless. Even being able to trip all those fishmen was already a good result. Wei Xiaobei looked at the returning fishmen with a bit of hesitation. Should he attack or attack? Or maybe attack? He did not have any plans to pull back at all. The only thing actually troubling him was how he was going to attack them. Moreover, there was an elite fishman in the group. The elite fishmen should not be looked down upon. Although they were weaker in close combat compared to a fishman guard, their water jet attacks were very vicious. If Wei Xiaobei charged ahead while it was under the protection of the 7 fishmen, the elite fishmen would probably teach him a lesson to put him in his place. However, Wei Xiaobei, in the end, still decided to attack. He was like a hyena stalking its prey, following behind the fishmen. When the fishmen found a piece of meat that they had overlooked and became happy, Wei Xiaobei moved like a leopard that had found an antelope, charging forward in big strides. At the same time, he thrust forward the pitchfork in his hands with all his strength. Poochie. The fishman standing at the very back could not even leak out a sound of surprise as the pitchfork pierced through its chest. The pitchfork, however, did not stop there. Although losing some momentum, it continued forward and pierced another fishman's back, sending blood spurting everywhere. After killing the 2 fishmen, Wei Xiaobei did not continue fighting. He let go of the pitchfork in his hands and escaped. When the other fishmen responded and chased after him, Wei Xiaobei had already fled 10 meters away, almost disappearing in a thicket of reeds. The short legs of the fishmen were truly not fit for running on dry land. Without even running 10 meters, Wei Xiaobei had completely threw them off. These fishmen were so angry that they could not catch Wei Xiaobei. They were about to vent their anger on the reed thicket instead, when they suddenly saw him come into their line of sight. Seeing the main offender appear, how could these fishmen hold back their anger? They immediately set off in hot pursuit, itching to turn him into minced meat. After luring these fishmen a lot further away, Wei Xiaobei once again threw them off. He quickly returned back to the corpse of the 2 dead fishmen to retrieve the pitchfork while gasping for breath. Although his physical strength was better than most, these fishmen had chased him quite far that the total distance he had run was probably already 1 kilometer. His strength had been sapped quite a bit. He drank a bit of water and lied down on the ground to rest while still being cautious of his surroundings. After he recovered his strength, Wei Xiaobei held on to the pitchfork while carefully advancing forward. From time to time, he even dropped to the ground to listen for any movement. Those fishmen were truly stupid. They ended up returning to their original path when they could not find Wei Xiaobei after searching for a while. Initially, they were still a bit alert, with just the sound of wind blowing through the grass was enough to send them into panic, making them hit the reed thicket with their clubs. However, it did not take long for only the elite fishmen in front to be wary, while the other fishmen were looking at the ground, attempting to find more meat. When he noticed this development in the fishmen's movement, Wei Xiaobei prepared to ambush them. He followed the pattern from before and waited for them to pass by before following behind them and attack. However, he was not as lucky as before as they did not walk in a straight line. Naturally, this also had its benefits. After killing the fishman at the end of the line, it did not alert the fishmen in front of it. They only came to their senses when he had killed another fishman from the back. To Wei Xiaobei, this time was much more troublesome than the previous one, since the fishman's reactions were faster than before. Moreover, he was a bit greedy this time and thrust his pitchfork towards a third fishman. However, at the same time he did this, the elite fishman opened its mouth and shot a high-speed water jet towards Wei Xiaobei's left arm. If Wei Xiaobei's reaction was a little slower and he had not dodged that, a hole would have opened up in his left arm. However, a cut still appeared on his left arm even after he dodged. The cut was more than 2 centimeters deep, making fresh blood rush out from the wound and flow down his arm. Wei Xiaobei's face beaded from sweat from the pain of the wound. Wei Xiaobei quickly looked around him. After killing the third fishman, there were only 2 normal fishmen and the elite fishman remaining. "I'm going to do this." He endured the pain in his left arm and pulled out the pitchfork with all his strength and threw it towards one of the normal fishmen. Then he advanced towards the elite fishman without any hesitation like a mad bull, in an attempt to knock against it. Iron Mountain Lean. However, in this gap in time, the elite fishman once again fired a high-speed water jet with all of its strength. Moreover, its aim this time was at Wei Xiaobei's chest. If he tried to dodge this, then he would not be able to tackle the elite fishman while still having to be hit by the water jet. Naturally, dodging would only switch the place the water jet would hit. At most, it would completely chop his arm off. If he did not dodge, the water jet would no doubt penetrate his chest. In this critical juncture, Wei Xiaobei decided to not think about the consequences of being hit by the water jet and did not hide or dodge. He did not even retreat. On the contrary, he advanced forward and poured all his strength into his shoulder, facing the water jet head-on. Psh! The water jet collided with Wei Xiaobei's charging force, changing its trajectory. It diverted a bit left from his left chest and pierced through him. The split-second pain was enough to make men kneel to the ground. However, the strangest thing was, Wei Xiaobei did not feel any pain at all when the water jet pierced him. Not thinking about it anymore, he continued to charge at the frightened elite fishman like a mad bull, fiercely knocking his shoulder into the elite fishman's chest. The sound of breaking bones immediately echoed and the elite fishman's chest instantly sunk in. The elite fishman was sent flying away by his Iron Mountain Lean. What came out from the elite fishman's mouth was no longer a high-speed water jet but bone shards, meat and fresh blood. Wei Xiaobei's skill level had increased. When he used his entire body to perform the Iron Mountain Lean, the elite fishman's rib cage had shattered to pieces and even hit the internal organs. It was so severe, its bones could be seen peeking out from the elite fishman's skin. Bang! Wei Xiaobei had not yet steadied his foothold after sending the elite fishman flying, when suddenly, he was hit by a wooden club at the back of his head. A violent dizziness spread through his head. This is bad. There's still another normal fishman. Wei Xiaobei immediately responded to the ambush behind him. However, even a real bull would not be able to fall from an attack from the back. When he was about to faint, Wei Xiaobei strongly bit on his tongue. The sharp pain instantly shot towards his brain, preventing him from knocking out. Did I bite off my tongue? He simply did not feel any movement from his tongue. He quickly turned around and threw himself towards the fishman, sending both of them to the ground. Full electricity release. Crackle. Crackle. Pop. A blue light immediately shone from the point where Wei Xiaobei touched the fishman. All of his electrical energy instantly released and shocked the fishman numb all over, immobilizing it. However, this was the limit of what his skill could do. As long as the electric current did not reach 90 mA, instantly killing any life form with electricity was a pipe dream. His right shoulder was also in great pain. After fighting, Wei Xiaobei had lost all of his strength, and blood kept flowing out from the wound. Unfortunately, his tongue suffered the same fate. However, the most dangerous wound was the one that passed through his chest. This amount of effort Wei Xiaobei had exerted since had already made him lose about 30% of the blood in his body. Of course, there would not be any grave consequences if a healthy person lost 10% of his blood. However, losing 20% would hinder some of the body functions, especially the central nervous system. Losing 30% would critically block most of the brain's processes. It would be fatal if a person did not immediately start a transfusion. In other words, a normal person would have already been unconscious if they lost the same amount of blood as Wei Xiaobei. However, Wei Xiaobei persisted on and stood back up. He walked 10 meters away to get the pitchfork from the fishman's corpse and pierced the fishman that attacked him to death. Afterwards he went back to the elite fishman and dug out the fishman water ball from its body. Only then did he cough out blood and sat on the ground. At this point, nothing could stop the severe dizziness in his head anymore, not even the pain in his tongue, shoulder, or chest. He closed his eyes and used his last remaining conscience to concentrate on the health attribute in his status panel. His evolution points, that had reached 180 points, quickly decreased like snow on a sunny day. Health, 9.01, Health, 9.02, Health, 9.03. Wei Xiaobei could not the severe dizziness and lied down in the pool of blood on the ground. After who knows how long, Wei Xiaobei slowly woke up from his dreams. Where am I? He strongly shook his head, attempting to shake away the murkiness and tiredness from his mind. He felt as if his entire body was a heavy brick from the extreme tiredness. He struggled to get up, and when he did, the first thing he did was place his head under the faucet. After washing himself with cold water, the tiredness finally disappeared. After he sat back on the bed and wiped his hair with a towel, he closely examined his left arm and touched his chest. If other people had seen this, they might have thought he was a weirdo. However, of course Wei Xiaobei did not think that his actions were strange. What's going on? Wasn't my chest, left arm, and tongue injured? How come they are now in perfect condition? Wei Xiaobei was currently flabbergasted, but his phone suddenly rung. He picked up the phone and heard a melodious and familiar female voice on the other side. "Little junior apprentice brother, you finally picked up. Did anything happen to you?" "It's little senior apprentice sister Qing Cc." Wei Xiaobei was stunned. Nothing happened. Why? Why? You didn't come to the dojo for 3 days, so I thought something bad had happened to you, like becoming a fugitive. Hearing that Wei Xiaobei seemed fine, Qing Cc began teasing him. Wei Xiaobei racked his brains and finally escaped from Qing Cc's questioning. After picking up the phone, he looked at his phone. 3 days had truly passed by. Before he entered the dust world, his phone battery was still full, but after receiving more than 10 missed calls, his phone battery was almost drained. I had actually slept for 3 days. Wei Xiaobei was a bit skeptical. At this time, a strong feeling of hunger surged upwards. He did not even have time to take a bath. He quickly wore his shirt and charged out. Coming to the street, he immediately found a noodle stand. Seeing that a customer appeared, the vendor hastily called out, "The noodles or the rice noodles?" Give me 2 bowls of noodles and 6 steamed buns. Wei Xiaobei quickly spoke as he saw the food. When the vendor delivered the food, Wei Xiaobei began wolfing them down. Even the vendor was frightened at the speed he was eating. The vendor's steamed buns were not those mass-produced steamed buns, rather they were hand-made steamed buns that weighed close to 250 grams each. A normal person would already be full after eating one of them. However, Wei Xiaobei would eat one in 3 bites. The noodles were not touched yet, but the 6 steamed buns were eaten cleanly, without leaving one behind. The vendor muttered under his breath, "Did this young man not eat for a few days already?" Naturally, what worried him the most was Wei Xiaobei not having money to pay. After the noodles came out, Wei Xiaobei had already suppressed his hunger, so he ate a bit properly. He closed his eyes while he was eating to check on his status panel. Name, Wei Xiaobei. Race, human. Gender, male. Age, 21. Creature rank, 1 star. Status, the average adult male's status value is 10. Strength, 11.53, muscle, 13.03, sturdiness, 10.03. Agility, 9.78, hand-eye coordination, 9.03, flexibility, 11.03, reflex, 11.03, balance, 8.03. Vitality, 10.75, health, 10.5, endurance, 11. Intelligence, 7, learning, 6, reasoning, 8. Awareness, 9.25, willpower, 12, judgment, 8, perception, 7, intuition, 10. Charm, 7.43, courage, 10, persuasiveness, 7, character, 7.6, leadership, 5, appearance, 7.6. Skills, shooting, intermediate, military boxing, intermediate, electrical work, beginner, Bajiquan, advanced, fishing, beginner. Special skill, release electricity, maximum strength 35 volts. Maximum current 9.8 mA. This skill formed after Wei Xiaobei ate the thunderworm electric ball. Maintaining a constant output for a long period could allow this skill to level up. Using this while exercising would stimulate strength and slowly increase agility. Evolution points, 30. Items on hand, Fishman water ball. It could be seen in the status panel that there were 2 changes. One was his health and vitality, and the other was his special skill. There was nothing much to say about his special skill. His health on the other hand had increased by 1.5 points, which needed 150 evolution points. It had also increased his vitality by 0.75 points. After thinking about this for a while, Wei Xiaobei kind of got the gist about what happened. He had previously suffered heavy injuries, but for some reason, when he placed his points into his health, his body's recovery probably sped up. However, even if it was like this, he had slept for 3 whole days after exiting the dust world. Moreover, when he closed his eyes, he could feel his vitality re-energizing his entire body. This meant that the health attribute had really increased his vitality and even sped up his recovery. He then remembered that he had the Fishman water ball and dropped it into the bowl while the stall owner was preoccupied. He poured in chili oil before swallowing it whole. Once the Fishman water ball entered his stomach, a gentle warmth spread through his body, and his evolution points had increased by 20. He did not touch the accumulated 50 evolution points and instead, continued eating. When he arrived at the dojo, his apprentice brothers anxiously asked what happened to him. Wei Xiaobei felt a bit moved from their concern, but he also felt his head ache. He just told them that he had a cold. After answering their questions, he went to find Cheng Bai Wu, who was sitting in the inner practice ground, and paid his respects. Luckily, Cheng Bai Wu did not question what he had been doing these past few days. He only nodded his head and placed his attention on the cup of tea in his hands. Master. When can I learn the 6 Harmonies Great Spear? Wei Xiaobei was dissatisfied at his ability in wielding the pitchfork. As a result, he was now bothering his master. When his master had practiced the 6 harmonies great spear, it was incredibly fierce yet grand, making him envious as he watched from the side. 6 harmonies great spear. Cheng Baiwu placed down the cup in his hands and looked at Wei Xiaobei with a smile. You haven't even finished mastering the basics yet you want to learn the 6 harmonies great spear. Wei Xiaobei was about to answer when he suddenly had a revelation. If his master knew his current level, he might be scared to death. From the time he begun learning Bajiquan until now, it had only been less than a month. He had gone from a beginner to someone who was as skilled as someone who started 3 to 4 years ago. This progress was simply too fast. If a person could memorize all the basics, it was already on the level of a genius. However, being able to remember, practice and reach a skilled level within a month was already too much. He did not want his master to have any bad opinion of him. If his master suddenly believed Wei Xiaobei to be a hidden expert, it would be very bad. Although this kind of thing would not be investigated, there might always be a mark of doubt left in his master's heart. Wei Xiaobei, in the end, could only dejectedly nod his head. After bowing to his master, he planned to go practice the basics in the outer practice ground. However, just as he turned around, he heard Cheng Baiwu's voice, with your current aptitude, there should be no problems in learning the 6 harmonies great spear. You can first learn the basics. Hearing his master's words, Wei Xiaobei became emotional and turned around with a bow, thank you master. Ha ha ha. What are you thanking me for? Come sit here first. Cheng Baiwu pointed at the chair beside him to let Wei Xiaobei sit. Wei Xiaobei obediently sat down. Cheng Baiwu finally asked him a question, Xiaobei, do you know the origin of China's wushu? Wei Xiaobei was slightly stunned when he heard this question. If he was asked about which parts of China created Shaolin Kung Fu, he knew a little bit, but the answer to the origin of wushu was something he did not know. If he said it was from Shaolin Kung Fu, he might just be slapped to the floor by his master. Your disciple does not know. Wei Xiaobei honestly answered. Wushu's original definition was a martial art used in wars. It was used by battlefield generals to kill through enemy troops. Cheng Baiwu proudly enlightened Wei Xiaobei. Wei Xiaobei sincerely nodded his head. Then let me ask you, what is guoshu? Cheng Baiwu continued to ask. Guoshu should be our country's wushu, right? Wei Xiaobei answered with hesitation. At this time, he regretted that he did not search these simple things up when he browsed the web in the past. Right. You are correct. When people speak of guoshu, they are referring to China's traditional wushu. In fact, they are referring to the killing art of wushu and not the one used for performances. Cheng Baiwu's voice suddenly became serious towards the end, to the point that Wei Xiaobei's body shivered as he muttered, killing art of wushu. Cheng Baiwu nodded his head after seeing that he was listening carefully, the martial art that I learned is guoshu. Remember. For killing and not performances. Cheng Baiwei emphasized this phrase. Wei Xiaobei hesitantly nodded and asked, that means that the ones used for performances are substanceless, right? Cheng Baiwu smiled, normally performances follow a standard sequence of martial arts, so they are not without substance. After this, Cheng Baiwu walked towards the weapons rack and picked up a great spear. Then he stood at the center of the practice ground and stabbed the great spear on the ground. The 3-meter-long great spear was like a flagpole pointing to the sky. This is a great spear. In the past, great spears were used weapons dedicated to cavalry. Normally, the best material for making the shaft of the spear would be Chinese ash. Its flexibility and durability is simply the best. However, Chinese ashes are now scarce. I left my own great spear back home. This great spear is made from a mulberry tree. It, in itself, is already not bad. It is 3.3 meters long with a weight of 4 kilograms. After he finished speaking, the great spear immediately moved. The spear head struck out, leaving a red light. For a short period of time, the great spear danced and traveled back and forth, creating powerful winds. It would occasionally thrust out and rise up, like a silver snake dancing in mid-air. This was the first time Wei Xiaobei saw the Six Harmonies' great spear, and couldn't help but stupidly look at it. Only when Cheng Baiwu withdrew the great spear with a large bang did Wei Xiaobei come back to his senses. The Six Harmonies' great spear focuses on 18 words: coil, block, hold, pull, wrap, dodge, push, chop, oppress, strike, clutch, change, raise, fall, hack, poke, hook, prick. Cheng Baiwu picked a great spear for Wei Xiaobei and began explaining. He taught him until it was time for dinner. If Cheng Cc had not called them for dinner, Cheng Baiwu would have probably continued explaining. However, compared to Cheng Baiwu's explanation of Bajiquan, Wei Xiaobei was now listening with much more obsession. Cheng Baiwu now explained with much more detail, as they both became extremely excited. Talking about these things to the normal students would be useless, and his disciples already understood these basics. So Wei Xiaobei was the only person who could listen. In the following week, Wei Xiaobei stayed over the dojo. Every morning, he would train in the basics, then after eating lunch, he would train the Six Harmonies' great spear under Cheng Baiwu's guidance in the afternoon to the evening. During this time, he did not have a hard time learning the Six Harmonies' great spear. After all, his Bajiquan had already reached advanced level. In just a single week, his Six Harmonies' great spear gained a proper form. Naturally, advanced level was not enough to completely master the Six Harmonies' great spear. According to Cheng Baiwu, he would need to train for 3 to 4 years before making a small step and 7 to 8 years before taking a large stride. This evaluation was already relative to Wei Xiaobei's innate skill. A normal apprentice would need 7 to 8 years of training before making a small step, and more than 20 years to make a large stride. However, because Wei Xiaobei's Six Harmonies' great spear already had form, Cheng Baiwu began to impart new things to him again. 3 Emperor Cannon Fist. Wei Xiaobei was a bit stunned. Before the week had started, Wei Xiaobei had moved his computer into the dojo. The dojo had internet because Cheng Cc loved to talk to people online. In his rest periods, Wei Xiaobei would look up information on martial arts. This 3 Emperor Cannon Fist was one of them. The 3 Emperor Cannon Fist was the same as Bajiquan in that they both focused on the inner force and merged them with techniques. Compared to Bajiquan, the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist was much more bold and imposing. According to the internet, the name 3 Emperor Cannon Fist came from the fact that the fists act like cannons, with incredible force. Bajiquan focused on 8 forms: dragon, tiger, bear, monkey, swallow, dog, eagle, quail. And the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist focused on 5 forms: ape, bear, tiger, turtle, dragon. The forms were enough to tell the difference between the two schools of martial arts. The 3 Emperor Cannon Fist focused on power and ferocity, to advance bravely and be unrivaled in a fight. When a punch is thrown, the enemy's guts would have already been rendered to pieces before it even makes contact. Wei Xiaobei's impression on the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist was that it would be much more easier to learn than Bajiquan, so he should be able to learn it quickly. The thing he had trouble understanding was how his master knew the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist if he was a disciple of Bajiquan. Cheng Baiwu laughed at Wei Xiaobei's doubtful gaze. "What are you looking at? Is it that strange that your master knows the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist? You disciple doesn't dare. But isn't master a disciple of Bajiquan?" Wei Xiaobei's sweat on his back turned cold as he daringly asked. "Rubbish." Cheng Baiwu coldly snorted, making Wei Xiaobei shrink back. Afterwards, Cheng Baiwu began to explain the origins, history, and techniques of the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist. Then he began supervising Wei Xiaobei in practicing it. However, even if Cheng Baiwu began teaching him the 3 Emperor Cannon Fist, his main homework was still Bajiquan. With that said, he still had to dedicate 2 hours a day to train the basics of the three emperor cannon fist. Wei Xiaobei had heard from his fellow disciples that Cheng Baiwu had never taught them the three emperor cannon fist. According to Cheng Baiwu, people had to first be able to firmly plant their feet on the ground. Then they would talk about the three emperor cannon fist once they properly learned Bajikwan. Naturally, Wei Xiaobei was still around the same level as he still learned Bajikwan for 80% of the time he was training. Time passed by bit. Wei Xiaobei with his advanced level Bajikwan's benefits made his six harmonies great spear better, the more he trained. It was to the point that he could continuously spar with his second apprentice brother for 6 minutes. But, 6 minutes should not be underestimated. His second apprentice brother, Zhang Zhilong, had been training since he was 12 years old, meaning he had been training for 13 years. Wei Xiaobei was slightly terrified of the thought of immersing himself in Bajikwan for 13 years. His master on the other hand had trained for 30 years, while his big apprentice brother had trained for 17 years. Wei Xiaobei was currently at the level of having 3 to 4 years of training. He was still quite far from his second apprentice brother. Being able to endure against his second apprentice brother for 6 minutes was already a great thing. He had spent his all just to reach this amount, and could only achieve it due to his second apprentice brother going easy on him. Naturally, if he used his special skill, Zhang Zhilong would definitely be at a disadvantage. Time quickly flew as he trained, and in the blink of an eye half a month had passed. In almost 2 months, Wei Xiaobei's changes were not small. It was once again almost time to pay the rent. He greeted his second apprentice brother and returned to his apartment. When he reached the place, he just happened to see the landlord, Li Chaoyang, knocking on his doors with a smile on his face. This meant that Wei Xiaobei would now have to conserve his phone bill. He bitterly smiled, as he went up to Li Chaoyang and gave him a few hundred yuan bills. When Li Chaoyang left, the corridor was filled with tenants cursing at him. Everyone was dissatisfied at the rise in rent starting that month. However, they still had to pay it even if they were dissatisfied by it. It was not like they could change the place they lived. Even if they were single, moving houses was still troublesome. Moreover, all the apartments in this region had all increased their rents. Finding a cheaper place to stay would require them to go to a further district, which no one was willing to do. After closing the door, Wei Xiaobei poured out the water in his water bottle. Then he made himself a cup of tea, drinking it before entering the dust world. Then, he chugged down the white wine that he prepared and lied down on the bed, enjoying the muddy feeling that surfaced. He once again woke up in his apartment room in the dust world, with the bloody pitchfork was still in his hands. Wei Xiaobei had already gotten used to this strangeness. He felt that all the strange things that happened in the dust world was now a natural thing. He sorted out his backpack and then left the apartment, pitchfork in hand. This was the first time he left the apartment without first checking the situation outside. He became more courageous with a weapon at hand. His gradually improving 6 harmonies great spear alone was enough to gain advantage over those fishmen. As long as nothing unexpected happens, Wei Xiaobei believed that he could handle even 7 to 8 fishmen. This of course, was only if there were no elite fishmen in the group. No life could be found on the streets, but Wei Xiaobei could see that the streets had become worse. Some brick walls had even been eroded by the wind. As the wind blew, the ash-gray brick wall continued to crumble, becoming dust. According to this trend, it would not even take a few years before the place became a complete ruins. Only a murky light shone on the streets, making him indescribably downcast. This mood disappeared only after he reached Lake Chui. 50 meters away from the Fishman village, Wei Xiaobei carefully hid himself but was shocked as he observed the huge change in the Fishman village. A thick stench of blood floated in the air. Traces of the Fishman guards at the entrance of the village could not be seen. From what he could see, there were countless fishmen corpses on the ground in the village. More than 10 fishmen were currently aimlessly wandering about like a group of zombies. What happened here? Unease began to creep up his mind. When he quietly reached the entrance of the fishmen village, he carefully stretched his head to take a look. What he saw made his face ashen. Wei Xiaobei could recognize the fishmen that were aimlessly moving about. Actually, he could only differentiate them from their body types. There were normal fishmen, an elite fishman and even a fishman guard. The only reason he recognized them was from the wound on their backs. For example, the elite fishman's chest was caved in while its back was slightly protruding. Another fishman had a wound that seemed to be caused by a pitchfork, the blood had dried and countless mosquitoes had assembled on it. Without a doubt, these were the fishmen that died in Wei Xiaobei's hands. He became confused. They had already died. How could they have resurrected? After carefully observing for a while, he came to a conclusion. These fishmen did not revive. From their stiff movements and unconscious pacing, it was clear that they had become zombies. The thought had given Wei Xiaobei goosebumps and a chill spread through his body. Moreover, these fishmen were the ones he lured out using the fiendish man fish meat. Actually, making such inference was simple, and anyone with a normal IQ would also come to the same conclusion. The fishmen corpses becoming zombies might be because they ate the fiendish man fish meat, and they were the cause of the destruction of the fishmen village. Those fiendish man fish were indeed a bit strange, so Wei Xiaobei would not doubt it if this were truly the cause. Wei Xiaobei, however, did not leave even after witnessing such a scene. On the contrary, he picked up a rock, tossed it inside the fishmen village, and observed for any movements. The rock had hit a simple wooden house, letting out a small sound. Although it was not loud, it had still attracted the fishmen corpses' attention. Wei Xiaobei had temporarily named them as fishmen corpses. These fishmen corpses began to slowly surround the wooden house from where the sound came from. The fishmen only looked scary due to the large wound on their back, but their walking speed was not even half of normal fishmen. Moreover, they were extremely clumsy to the point that one of the fishmen corpses tripped on a corpse on the ground and fell down. It struggled on the ground for a while before getting back up with great difficulty. Wei Xiaobei became even more suspicious after seeing this scene. The number of fishmen in the village should have exceeded the number of fishmen corpses. Moreover, these fishmen corpses were slow. It would be a huge joke if they were actually be a threat, those energetic fishmen. No matter how gutless those fishmen were, it would be impossible for them to offer no resistance and allow the fishmen corpses to kill them. Maybe 2 fishmen guards would already be enough to kill the fishmen corpses. This was all just too strange. After assembling around the wooden house, the fishmen corpses stood there blankly for a while before wandering all over the place again. In the end, a fishman corpse began to slowly walk towards the village entrance. Wei Xiaobei tightly grasped the pitchfork in his hand. He would never act blindly without thinking before finding out the entire truth. However, if the fishman corpse approached him, he could only make his move and kill it. The fishman corpse stopped at the village entrance and stayed there without even moving a single bit. Wei Xiaobei thought that he had been discovered, but the fishman corpse turned around and walked back in the village. Time passed by bit by bit. The fishman corpses acted as if they were trapped by an invisible barrier. Every time a fishman corpse approached the village entrance, they would stop for a while and walk back in. When he noticed this, Wei Xiaobei, all the more, did not dare to enter the village. The place was too strange. After lying down for a little more than 2 hours, he decided to leave the place. The longer he stayed there, the stronger he felt an indescribable sense of danger, as if there was a voice warning him to leave. After moving more than 50 meters away from the village, the sense of danger that he felt increased like a dam on the edge of collapsing. His awareness attribute was at 9.25 points. His willpower was 12, judgment was 8, perception was 7, and intuition was 10. This was what the status panel indicated. With his intuition at 10 points, it signified that his perception of danger was much more stronger than a normal person. He already knew this but never placed as much importance to it compared to strength. However, it was at this moment that his intuition had saved him. He carelessly turned around to take a look and saw that the surface of Lake Chui had turned black while emitting a humming noise. What's going on? While he was still bewildered, the black surface began to extend towards the shore. It's not that the lake had changed color, but some black object had covered the lake. The shore close to the village had been covered by the layer of black in just 30 seconds. The reed thicket was also covered, disappearing from existence. When the black object approached to about 30 meters away from Wei Xiao Bei, he could finally see what it was. The layer of black happened to be a countless number of black beetles the size of a finger. Wherever the black beetles went, whether it was the reed thicket or the gray weeds, everything had been eaten cleanly. Even the fishmen corpses in the fishmen village had been quickly covered by these beetles and disappeared from sight. Wei Xiao Bei felt his blood run cold. He did not dare stay there any longer and broke into a run. The thing that made him rejoice was that the black beetles' speed was not fast. At the very least they were slower than him. He only stopped running when he got back to his street. At this moment, he began to ask himself whether he should leave the street or not. It was easy to imagine that this street would not be able to stop the black beetles' onslaught, unless there was some kind of miracle. After 10 minutes, the black beetles had entered his field of view. Due to the difference in vegetation and the black beetles spreading on all sides, the black beetles that were moving towards the street had thinned out. The black beetles that were moving in the front acted as a black stream, slowly flowing down. Wei Xiao Bei thought for a bit and returned to the apartment building. He replaced the pitchfork in his hand with a club and returned to the end of the street. 10 more meters, 5 more meters, he stopped moving and smashed the club down on the black beetles. The club smashed the beetles without much of a sound, squishing them to pieces. Black juice splashed out from their bodies, staining the ground with black dots. Wei Xiao Bei retreated a few steps and closed his eyes. Soon, he opened his eyes with delight. There really is an effect. When he had smashed 4 black beetles to death, he had gained 1 evolution point. He stopped thinking and continued smashing the black beetles. When he reached the street, he had already killed 200 black beetles, giving him more than 50 evolution points. Compared to killing 5 fishmen, killing 200 black beetles and gaining 50 evolution points was not worth it. He only needed to use the pitchfork to kill a fishman in 1 move, but killing the black beetles needed him to continuously smash the club downwards. Another problem was that he needed to concentrate hard in order to prevent the black beetles from surrounding him. These black beetles only provided a few evolution points, but the good thing about them was that there were many of them. Though if the black beetles climbed up on him, then he would probably die a painful death. It should be said that he was already grasping for breath at this moment. He had been continuously smashing down for more than 60 times whilst also trying to pay attention to his surroundings and retreat at the right times. At the time, his mind was far more worn out than his body. Seeing that the black beetles were close to entering the streets, he prepared to retreat. This made him incredibly unhappy. If this place was occupied by the black beetles, then it would be very troublesome for him the next time he entered the dust world. If he did not want to wake up with a body full of holes and black beetles entering his stomach, he needed to find a safer place to enter the dust world. However, who knew where this safe place was? If such terrifying black beetles could appear from the waters of Lake Chui, other places that he would find might not even necessarily be safe. Naturally, if he truly wanted to guarantee his safety, the best choice would be to stop coming back and give up any ideas of getting stronger. In the next moment, Wei Xiao Bei became baffled. In the dust world, only half of the street was left, while the rest was a wasteland and straight ahead was Lake Chui. The border between the street and the wasteland was extremely neat, as if it was cut by something. The black beetles moved like a tide, but when it reached the very edge of the street, they immediately stopped. Not a single black beetle exceeded the edge. It was like there was an invisible barrier blocking the black beetle's way. The black beetles at the back continued to surge forward, and very quickly, the black beetles had climbed up on each other like a rising mountain. What is going on? Wei Xiaobei could not believe what he was seeing. In the next instant, he unhesitantly raised the club in his hand and smashed towards the piled-up black beetles. First hit. 11 beetles died. 2.75 evolution points. Second hit. 9 beetles died. 2.25 evolution points. Third hit. 10 beetles died. 2.5 evolution points. The black beetles continued to accumulate at the very edge of the street, allowing Wei Xiaobei to turn more black beetles into meat paste with every hit. Time went by bit by bit. Wei Xiaobei looked at his continuously rising evolution points. Even though he was tired, he was incredibly satisfied. As previously stated, the amount of evolution points the black beetles gave was too small, but being together in their huge amount, they had given Wei Xiaobei quite a bit of evolution points. The only troublesome thing was that the black beetles kept increasing, continuing to surge forward. Even if Wei Xiaobei was able to smash a lot of them to death at the edge of the street, the black beetles just accumulated in another place that he was not paying attention to. Doing this, the black beetles had slowly formed a perimeter wall. Who knew when this black perimeter wall would crumble down on top of him? As a result, his back began to sweat and he started smashing faster. While he kept smashing down on the black beetles at the edge of the street, he failed to notice a red-clothed, long-haired woman standing on top of the roof of one of the small buildings on the other side of the street. Following her appearance, a strange sound that could not be heard by normal ears traveled through in the air. The sound echoed, causing the temperature of the street to instantly drop. Wei Xiaobei could not help sneezing at this. Soon, the black beetles receded back to Lake Chui like a tide. All of a sudden, Wei Xiaobei was left alone, baffled at this scene. What's going on? Because he was still worried that the black beetles would come back, he did not immediately respond. He only came back to his senses when the black beetles retreated back to more than 10 meters away. Those retreating black beetles were important evolution points, so he quickly chased after them and smashed towards them with the club in his hand. However, as soon as he reached the lakeside, his instincts quickly warned him of the danger, stopping him from going any more forward. All he could do was watch the densely packed black beetles withdrawing into Lake Chui, disappearing from his sight.